fair. But no, what I was going to say is that on this pitch, in this game, in my opinion, James Middlebrook has erred on the side of the batsman, shall we say, generally.
Yes.
And I think, what I'm saying is he's not firing them out. He's having a good long look at it, and he had a good long look at that, and he thought, that's out. And
no, I would agree.
So it's proved. So there we go. It'll be, hopefully, it might come up on the old highlights in a minute. But big wicket for Ed Barnard. And 1 for 14 now in his fifth, and they're staring down the barrel a bit.
Well, I would just, I think to survive from here for 42 overs after this over, I would be surprised if we go to unless the weather intervenes. If we get the full overs in, I don't think we'll be here tomorrow, Frank.
Here's Barnard to Delray Rawlins, the new batsman. He's in, and Rawlins drives nicely up to mid-off, takes a fairly risky single. Joe Leach hits with the throw. He's in, but why would you do that? I don't quite understand why you would take any risk at all. Maybe it wasn't a risk, maybe he was always confident he was going to get it. But anyway, he's off the mark. Ali Orr, who's overseen all of this, is still there on 20. He's faced 72 deliveries, and he must be... Well, he did nearly run himself out, I suppose, but he must be wondering what's going on. Baker's changed his position again now in that sort of leg gully position. He's gone a bit closer as well, which obviously narrows down the angle and means he's more likely to get his hand on the catch, but it might make the catch more difficult as Barnard comes in and bowls to Orr, who lets that go outside the off stump. If I was Orr now, if I were Ali Orr now, or if I were a batsman faced with this situation, that it's almost like an instinctive thing, that little clip off his pads, and they've seen it and they've set a trap. Do you say to yourself, I'm going to really try not to play that, or do you think, well, I'm just going to keep playing it, and that's me, that's the way I play? Difficult one, I think.
Oh, I'd agree.
Barnard to complete the over comes in and bowls to Orr, and he lets that go outside the off stump. He's been a model of concentration, he really has. 62 for 5 at the end of the over.
Clive's been in touch. He says it's overly dramatic to ask if this will be a make or break innings for Delray Rawlins. Well, I don't know. Clive Jacobs. Once again, Sussex suffer the third innings blues. Losing the 4 wickets second time round is hardly ideal, although the home bowling has been rather good. Sussex can only look on and hope for more bowling options next week. At least Orr and Clark are digging in. Or Clark was battling hard before succumbing to the pressure of tight bowling that forced him into a misguided waltz down the pitch. Sussex will do well to take this into a final day, and maybe surviving the stumps is beyond them now. Still, it will be a good game to win or even draw. Oh well, there's always next week, says Clive. I will be surprised if it goes to a fourth day.
I've just seen that LBW and he's got no complaints at all. None whatsoever.
I mean, he's hugely disappointed, but... Well, in comes Baker. Over the wicket bowls to Rawlins, who looks to sweep that one away to the leg side. I mean, in a situation here... I don't know what the tactic is, to be honest. I mean, Sussex are trailing by, what are they, 160 behind? But I'm not sure that's the right shot to play.
It's the first ball he's faced from Baker, and he's played a cross-batted sweep at it. It doesn't seem sensible to me.
Baker in bowls. He's at it again. That's twice in a row he's played that shot. I mean, and I do agree. You got Ali Orr at one end, who's battling. He's faced 74 balls for his 20, and Delray could have been out twice with the 2 balls he's received from Josh Baker, and that's just prompting even more pressure now from D'Oliveira. So he's got a slip, he's got a silly point, he's got a short leg. Azhar Ali is now going into maybe leg slip. Do you think, Frank?
I think he's going in. He's going in there because they know he's obviously looking for that sweep shot, but
he's gone to sort of a backward square leg, or almost on the 45, short fine leg. Yeah, that's a better description. Baker bowls and with a flick of the wrist, and it's played I think into the pads of Jack Haynes, who's fielding there.
I think I'd have left that gap there and said, you keep playing that sweep shot if you want to, because he wasn't playing it with any great degree of confidence. They're moving Azhar Ali now. Maybe they think he might play it and get a little top edge.
Possibly.
Pollock's coming out from silly point now.
Peter's been in touch. Hello, Peter. He says, what are Sussex doing? Very odd cricket. Very decent bowling too, especially as a pack. but still, he says exclamation mark. And
especially as a pack, did he say?
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think they've been a good unit.
in comes Baker again, bowls, and Royce is again sweeping. It's such a dangerous shot. He gets a single down to deep backward square, but as a bowler, you're probably thinking, I've got a chance here. I mean, you just never give up, mustn't you? I mean, I remember seeing Delray play, getting 100 up at Old Trafford when Sussex were in a mess and were going to lose the game. But you've got to believe you can still win a game, or bat as if your life depends on it. That's what Alistair Orr is doing. But he's starting his run out of partners. 63 for 5. Sussex have lost 10 wickets today. Baker in, bowls, Orr is right in behind. That plays on the bounce to the short leg fielder. And there is no run. We've got another 9 overs until tea. Baker again, in and bowls, and Orr is forward as allowed appeal.
Dusted a bit, that one. Came out of the footmarks, just puff of dust as it popped. Played it well, actually.
Mark has been in touch. He says, Adrian and Frank, live stream back on. Cheers to all those technical bods
good.
behind the scenes. So well done, everyone at Worcester. And I'm just going to reiterate, because the live streams are new to county cricket. Some clubs have a huge amount of resource and people who can work away, and I know certainly at Sussex and here at Worcester that won't be the case. So I know it's frustrating when people want to watch the cricket, but I do really believe that people are doing their best to make this work. So well done to the people here at Worcester for that. For Sussex supporters, as Gary Knight said, it's perhaps a good job the stream has gone down. And the live stream is going out, which is good news. So 63 for 5.
And Ed Barnard from the Diglis end to bowl to Delray Rawlins. Bowls, and that's a lovely shot from Rawlins. Driven. Barnard stands with his head in his hands. It's driven through extra cover, but it was a half volley, and he leaned into it and drove it nicely through. Long off, mid off for 4. But runs aren't important for Worcestershire, and in fact, as we've said, they'll probably be happier seeing Rawlins playing the odd shot.
Yeah.
But it's such a difficult one, isn't it? As a batsman, you don't want to get stuck and become shotless. At the same time, you don't want to be playing at balls trying to be ambitious.
No.
But as a bowler, you've got more chance if they are playing the odd shot. Here's Barnard over the wicket, bowls to Rawlins down the leg side. Rawlins flicks at it, doesn't get anything on it. Taken by Cox, second ball of the over, 67 for 5. Barnard 1 for 19 at the moment.
I just feel with Delray that he's the sort of batsman you think next ball he could get out. It might be you may get a brilliant extra cover drive for 4, but he might get out.
Well, he needs to play the innings of his life, doesn't he, really?
Yeah.
Barnard, that lovely, easy approach, bowls to him, and that's outside the off stump, left alone, taken by Cox, no run. Your correspondent who said that they'd bowled well as a pack, I absolutely agree with that. I think in both innings, you mentioned D'Oliveira's neat handling, shall we say, of his attack, the fact that he switched them around, but the fact that nobody's really let him down is what's so important, isn't it? That they've been such a unit. Barnard in, bowls, and Rawlins drives beautifully, straight back up the ground, hits the stumps, I think, at the non-strikers end. Did he hit the stumps or hit Barnard's hand?
Yes, I thought it hit
and
the
ran
stumps
away
first, you're right.
to mid-off. They get a run, single, 67 for 5 becomes 68 for 5, and Rawlins goes to 7.
But when Tom Clark was out to that brilliant catch by Jack Hayes, we'd have to listen back to your commentary, but I think you said, could that be could that change the game?
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I think it did.
Yeah. I think you're right. Key moments. Haynes didn't get any runs really in the first innings. You probably feel that's his biggest contribution, but it was huge.
Yeah, it was
absolutely huge. Here's Barnard, bowls to Orr, who is pushing at this one, pushes it up to mid-on, fielded there by Morris.
I know that Frank Sussex supporters will be very demoralised listening to us this afternoon from a Sussex point of view. But what you think this season? Notts 534 for 9. Derbyshire last week 505 for 8. Worcestershire this week 491 all out. the problem has been bowling. Sussex just cannot bowl sides out at the moment.
Barnard is in, bowls or pushes out on the offside, no run. Yeah, I can see that. And end of the over for Barnard, 6 overs, no maidens, 1 for 20, 68 for 5. You're only as good as your bowlers, aren't you, really? And Pujara's got a double 100 and 100, and Haynes has got a double 100. So they've shown that they can bat. But having said that, that was an unusual one at Derby, wasn't it? Because very few wickets fell in the game, and Derbyshire couldn't bowl Sussex out either. It was a flat pitch, wasn't it?
Well, it was, and I said that when I arrived. It was 21 wickets in 4 days at Derby. This always looked like there was a little bit more bounce in it, and I think this is a better attack than the Derby attack.
It's Baker. It's you, isn't it?
Bowls to Rawlins, who plays that down the track. There is no run, and Sussex. I'm not here to make excuses. I'll just tell it factually. Sussex have lost a lot of bowlers. But that being said, Sussex would have known they weren't going to see a lot of Ollie Robinson probably if he carried on his England form when he was injured. As in comes Baker and bowls, forward comes Rawlins, plays into the offside. They side Steve Finn, but Steve Finn is injured for this game. Obviously they would have hoped to have had George Garton and Hudson Prentice in the side as well, but it's bowling where the problem is, and no Jack Carstone. The off spinner is the biggest miss for Sussex. No one to hold an end. Baker in bowls. Rawlins sweeps. He's going to get 4 runs. So he says it's a good shot, and he's got 4 runs. He goes to 11, but I still think it's a risky shot. But on the other hand, he may be thinking to himself, well, there's nothing to lose here.
Well, he likes that shot, doesn't he?
He does. He goes to 11.
Yeah.
But it's a shot that it is fraught with risk.
Yeah.
72 for 5. Baker in bowls. Rawlins out again, and he heaves that one down the ground. He rather like that.
Yeah.
Hits the ball over wide-ish. Mid-on for 4 more. Rawlins goes to 15, and maybe he's just decided, you know what, I'm just going to play some shots here.
Yeah, he might well have done.
We can't.
He might well have done.
We can't fiddle and mess around for the next so many overs. Let's try and put a bit of pressure on D'Oliveira, and the position Sussex are in. That's maybe not a bad tactic because.
Well, just occasionally in cricket history, ridiculous things happen, and they don't happen because people are shy and they're just trying to stick around, do they? Both of them. Ashes and stuff like that.
Yeah, Baker in bowls. Rawlins is forward and then back and plays it down the offside.
The famous Chantry's match here against Surrey when Worcestershire came from a situation like this and won the game. It's just, it's a 1 in 1,000, isn't it? But that might be what he's thinking. Who knows?
Baker in bowls. He's got that short leg side boundary. He was tempted to have another dig at one there and then reined himself in and played it down the on side of the track. End of the over. I don't think that Brett D'Oliveira will be overly bothered to see Rawlins on the attack because he might think, well, he may get a quick 30 or 40, but in the end, he's going to hold out. 76 for 5 or 20 off 78 in direct opposite. Rawlins 15 off 16 balls. No, 15 off 15 actually.
Yeah, it's and from a Worcestershire point of view, the message will be whether they don't deliver it until tea or not, I don't know, but the message will be just keep calm, be patient and wait for your chances, and when they come, take them and we'll get there.
Julian's been in touch. He's a regular contributor. He says the only positive, if you may make it to the Amex tomorrow to watch Albion beat Southampton on my birthday, says Julian.
Here's Barnard bowls a bouncer to all. Again, Barnard uses that as a surprise factor. And you probably wouldn't expect it first up. You might expect it if you just hit him for 4 or something, but just now and again he does that. And he bangs that one in and all ducked underneath it. Well, and avoided it. And he's still there, 20 not out, 79 deliveries faced.
I'll make no comment as to Julian as how old he is tomorrow, but I wish you a happy birthday.
Here comes Barnard in from the Diglis end again, and all is forward pushing up to Joe Leach at mid-off.
Actually, 2 of the Sussex supporters I was out with last night were going back tonight for the game tomorrow. So people sort of, not a bad weekend, bit of football, bit of cricket, is it?
I'd rather not talk about football at the moment, given that I've just seen the score from Carrow Road.
Right, okay.
76 for 5.
I thought you were going to say 7.
No, not quite, not yet. Barnard in again, bowls to Alistair Orr, who is forward to this and pushes back up the pitch to the bowler. The men out then in this second innings, which began with Sussex following on 222 runs behind. Haynes caught Cox bowled Leach 10, Alsop caught Cox bowled Leach first ball, Pujara bowled Pennington 12, Clark caught Cox bowled Baker 8, and Rizwan LBW to Barnard for 4. And here's Barnard to Orr, who tucks him off his pads for a single, fielded by Azhar Ali at mid-wicket. Orr goes to 21, 77 for 5. Rizwan, you know, you said it was almost dissent. He hung around when he was given out. He looked he really did hang around. He even went back into his guard and had a look where he was. But I tell you what, he won't argue when he sees the replay.
Yeah.
And he'll have seen it by now, because the analysts have such things up and ready straight away. He'll have marched in and said, I don't think that was how I want to see it, and they'll have shown him, and he'll go, oh. And he might apologise to the umpire then.
Well, it's he did hang around a long time, and I think I don't think he would get. I don't think there'd be action, but he's disappointed. But it wasn't a great look, was it?
No. So, well, I mean, it wouldn't be far off one that the match referee had a look at, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I think, as I say, when he sees the replay, he might apologise, because I've just had a look at it again, and it looks pretty straight to me. Pretty straight. I don't think there's much argument about that at all. Here's Barnard in again, bowls to Delray Rawlins, who plays a beautiful shot, clipping a ball. It wasn't really a half volley, leg stumpish, but clipped through mid-wicket for 4. And well, he's a fluent batsman. We've seen that in white ball cricket. I actually really like watching him in white ball cricket, but you wouldn't say necessarily that his skills are suited to this sort of situation. But he's decided, I think, as you've said, that the best way to deal with this is to just play his natural game. And on this occasion, and on the last 2 occasions that he's tried to find the boundary, he's done so quite effectively. And that was a really beautiful clip through mid-wicket. And he's gone to 19. It's 81 for 5. And Barnard is in again and bowls across Rawlins, who leaves that one, lets it go through to the keeper Cox. So we've got 6 overs left till tea. There'll be an update for me shortly, which we can listen out for. I'm not exactly sure when it's coming, but it'll be half time in the local football games. And it's 81 for 5.
What's the local football game on BBC Hereford and Worcester?
Kidderminster Harriers today.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're in
Conference
North?
Out the score. They are in National League North.
Right. Okay. They had that wonderful game against West Ham.
They did,
yeah. This year. They very
so
nearly
unlucky,
won.
weren't they? So unlucky. They're playing Blythe Spartans, I think, today. Yeah. I'll find out what the score is.
In comes Baker. Bowls to Orr, who struck on the pad. There's a loud appeal, but given not out. Ali all looking to turn on the leg side. The sun is out here now in Worcester. It's a lovely afternoon, breezy afternoon, mind you. The trees around the ground are waving in the breeze. The trousers of the fielders are being ruffled as Baker is in bowls, and Orr lets that go outside the off stump, taken by Cox. And there is no run.
And it's 1-1 as they approach half time.
Right.
I actually did the Kidderminster Blythe Spartans home game on the radio earlier in the year.
In comes Baker bowls, forward comes Orr, plays to mid-wicket. The former Sussex press officer, Adam Matthews, is a massive Kidderminster fan. I think he goes all over the country.
Well, they've had a good season. They're in the top 3 or 4.
In comes Baker again, bowls or covers up, plays into the onside. He's faced 86 balls now, Ali Orr, for his 21. He's showing grit and determination. It's difficult to see it ending in anything other than a defeat for Sussex, but he's battling away for his county. Baker comes in and bowls or stretches forward, plays down the offside of the track. Baker comes down to field and there is no run. I'll tell you what, Brett D'Oliveira wouldn't have believed, I think in his wildest dreams when they came out after lunch, that they go to tea with Sussex 5 down. He'd have probably taken 3 down at close of play, I think, Frank.
Yeah,
he probably would.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Baker in again, bowls or covers up, plays onto the onside, fielded it short leg by Haynes. There is no run. End of the over, 5 overs to go until tea. And Sussex are 81 for 5, and I think, if Alistair Raw does get out, then we won't be here tomorrow. He's
the glue, isn't he?
I think he is the glue.
Yeah.
I think if he gets out, it's difficult to see a case for Sussex surviving another 37 overs today. But if he hangs around, we might
be back tomorrow.
Might have a bit of cricket tomorrow morning.
Had a tweet from Ches Fox, our old friend from yesterday, who says, has a decision been made not to bowl D'Oliveira this season? I was surprised he didn't bowl at the death at Leicester, and he doesn't look as though he'll be bowling in this match either. Well, I kind of get what you're saying, Ches. I mean, I did wonder when he became captain whether it might work that way, because captains, they often tend to sort of hide their light under a bushel a bit, don't they, and not overindulge themselves. Not if they're bowlers like Joe Leach. We often used to feel that Joe overbowled himself, not because he was being greedy, but because he just wanted to take the responsibility. He's coming into the attack now, actually, at the Diglis end. But I don't think so, Ches. I think Brett will bowl if he feels the need, but at the moment he doesn't feel the need. As Leach comes in, and Rawlins does what he did this morning, which is he takes a pace or two down the pitch, and Joe Leach is not impressed, so he says have that, and he bounces him, and Rawlins on the walk had to duck underneath it. But interesting policy. I think we could say that he's a slightly enigmatic player, couldn't we, Delray Rawlins, and what we've seen today?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's fine. I think there's a place for enigma in the game. But on the charge, on the walk, I bet he doesn't go this time. Leach comes in, and he doesn't. He stays exactly where he is, and he plays defensively out on the offside. 81 for 5 the score remains, and 4 overs left after this before tea. I'm expecting BBC Hereford and Worcester to come to us imminently. I think that Kidderminster game had a little bit of extra injury time. They might just be dealing with that before on the sports programme before they come here. But Joe Leach turning again now at the Diglis end and coming in and bowling to Rawlins, who's playing at this one outside the off stump. That's a good one from Joe Leach. Cross Rawlins. Probably didn't need to play it. A little bit loose. Looking to sort of punch it through wide of Josh Baker at short extra cover. And he missed it. Taken by Ben Cox, who's picked up 3 catches so far in this innings. The third of them I thought was a really good catch, the one off Josh Baker, as Tom Clark played a sweep shot, and despite all the kind of activity that was going on in front of his face, Cox stayed down, kept his head still, and made the catch. Good catch. Since then we saw Rizwan LBW to Ed Barnard for 4, and now it's 81 for 5 as Leach moves in again from the Diglis end and bowls to Rawlins, who throws his hands at a wide one and misses it. Really wide, that one, and didn't bounce a lot either, and he just flung his hands at it. I think probably thinking that he'd either smack it away for 4 or it would take some catching. And here comes that update. Yes, they are firmly in the box seat, Trevor, as you say. 81 for 5 now, Sussex, in their second innings, following on. So they're still 141 runs behind, and with 36 overs left in the day after this one, I think there are even possibilities of this one finishing on this, the third day. The man who's done the damage, really, Joe Leach, picked up the first 2 wickets to go after Sussex were asked to follow on 222 behind, and then Dylan Pennington with a real beauty to dismiss the first innings centurion Pujara for 12. Since then, Josh Baker's picked up a wicket. Another good catch by Ben Cox. He picked up Tom Clark for 8, and then Mohammad Rizwan, the Pakistani wicketkeeper, LBW to Ed Barnard for 4. It's been a good effort by the Worcestershire bowling unit, and they really are forcing home their advantage. We've got 4 overs to go before tea, and Sussex at the moment with Delray Rawlins on 19 and the obstinate Alistair Orr on 21 are hanging on at 81 for 5, but still 141 runs in arrears. And that the end of the over from Joe Leach, and 4 overs left before tea.
Yes, and who we're going to get Baker carrying on. So all on 21, as you say, 88 deliveries. Has shown that necessary application. But where does Sussex go from here? Durham next up at Hove next week. Oh, we've bought some cake. Oh, I do like coming here. Look at John. He's bought in 4 bits of cake with a lemon drizzle and a nice sort of, I don't know what the other cake is. Look, it's got nuts on. What do you call that, Frank? I can't name cakes. I mean, it's brown, dark brown with sort of cream.
Carrot cake, I think it is.
Is it?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good description, actually. Whether it is or not, I don't know.
Well, if it isn't, I don't think it's a very good description.
That's a good point. It looks nice. So, but
it is.
Trouble is now, John's bought that in. Yeah. We've got to survive 4 overs looking at some cake.
I'm pretty sure it's carrot cake.
Baker in bowls to Orr, who clips this to mid-wicket, fielded by Dolavera, and there is no run. He's surrounded by fielders. There's a slip, a short leg, a leg slip for Alistair Orr, who twiddles away with his bat at the far end of the ground, adjusts his helmet and waits for Baker to come in. He's in and bowls and Orr cuts up, plays on the bounce to short leg, and there is no run. He's now faced 90 deliveries, Ali Orr. I mean, he'll still be believing, that he can,
back till tomorrow night.
Well, I think you've got to do that, haven't you?
One ball at a time.
You've got to believe that you can do something. In comes Baker, Orr drives nicely. I've no question about Ali Orr's powers of concentration, and determination. They are not in question. As he waits again, and Baker, just 18 years of age, left arm over the wicket, in and bowls, gives that plenty of air, and I think that might have been I wonder if that was a chance.
Almost through.
He turned it onto the leg side.
That's what he's there for, isn't he?
I wonder if that was a chance. I think he's indicating that it didn't carry.
I don't think it carried, but
no, I think he's.
I've missed the replay as well. So.
Yeah, I think he's just saying that it bounced in front of him. Is that
Pollock?
Was it? Okay, yeah. I thought it was Azhar Ali for a moment. No, it is Pollock. You're absolutely right. He just seemed to indicate that it hadn't.
I didn't think it quite carried.
No, but they had set the trap.
It's so difficult if you're in that position. Anybody who's fielded round the corner, sort of leg gully or leg slip.
Baker in bowls, Rawlins stoutly forward, plays into the offside, no run.
You watch the pad. I think that's the thinking. You watch the front pad, because anything that's coming to you is coming round the front pad, so that's where you tend to watch. And when it happens really quickly, so it's very difficult to pick it up, and I don't think it quite carried either.
Baker in, bowls to Rawlins, who steers then onto the onside. There is no run. So end of the over, Rawlins reining himself in with the last 2 balls. That over. Sussex are 82 for 5, Orr on 22. Rawlins is on 19.
That's the way it always used to be when I played. Anyway, I don't know whether they still teach that. That's what I would teach. You watch that front pad if you're round the corner, because anything that comes to you, that's where it's first going to enter your eyesight, as it were, your vision, your field of vision. And when it happens, it's just so sudden that it's just a reaction thing. And Baker knows that, because he's been down here doing the same thing with Orr on strike for the seam bowlers when he's been in that kind of leg gully position. But it's clearly something they've seen, isn't it? The analysts have seen with Alistair Orr, is that he does clip the ball slightly uppishly behind square on the leg side, and they've tried to sort of work on that. Not doing that this time with Leach bowling, because slightly different pace. This with Leach bowling, they've got the man on the catch about 7 or 8 yards in front of square and about 10 yards back on the leg side, and Leach bowls to Orr, who
where did that go?
Gets a bouncer, gets inside it, and gets 4 off a top edge over the wicketkeeper's head. So fortunate boundary for Alistair Orr, and a bit of pace from Joe Leach, but he's gone to 26 with that boundary. And it's 86 for 5. Absolutely key man, I think, as you say.
Yep.
If he's still there at the end, we might well be coming back tomorrow. If they can get him out before, say, 5 o'clock, it might all be over today. But you never know. These two might put 200 on. I don't want to give the impression that I'm taking anything for granted. Here's Joe Leach again from the Digley centre. The left-handed oar, he's in, he bowls, and oar edges.
He's put down.
I'm not sure it carried. Just going to have a look whether it carried to Jack Haynes at second slip. No, didn't carry.
Right. Okay.
Just bounced in front of him. Just inches. I mean, you know, if he'd have dived forward, he might have picked a great catch-up, but I don't think it carried. It certainly didn't enter his hands. It might have ended up being one of those if he'd have picked it up, where he'd have picked it up and thought, no, that's just bounced. I can't claim it. So, living dangerously, shall we say, as Leach comes in and bowls 2 oar, turns this one on the onside and gets a single as Azhar Ali misfields slightly in that short mid-wicket position. And score goes on to 87 for 5. And Alistair Orr goes on to 27 off 95 balls, holding things together. No, didn't carry.
A few fellas in the press box just asking whether that carried.
I don't think it carried.
Lovely sunshine now, Frank.
Yeah, it is, as Joe Leach moves in and bowls to Rawlins, who's forward, pushing back up the pitch. Yeah, beautiful sunshine, and first blue sky we've seen, I think, really, that you could genuinely remember, I think, in this day. I still think that flag's hanging by a thread up there on the... yeah, it is. I can even see a bit of colour on it there, I think. On the old cathedral. It's a shame. But it's a beautiful afternoon, and Adrian's favourite view now as the sort of honey-coloured cathedral gets bathed in sunshine.
Yeah.
Here's Leach again over the wicket, bowls to Rawlins, who plays a loosish drive at that, but it's like a sort of bottom of the bat into the ground, and it runs up to Brett D'Oliveira at mid-off. The Worcestershire captain be pretty happy with his day's work so far. 10 wickets have gone down in the day. I certainly think if you'd have offered him that even this morning, even at lunchtime, he'd probably, as you say, have said, yeah, okay, that'll do. We'll get 5 tomorrow. Just got to plug away. Plug away. 34 overs left after this in the day. Leach bowls, bouncer, Rawlins ducks underneath it. Lets it go through to Cox. End of the over. Rawlins 19, all 27, 87 for 5. And Joe Leach now has figures of 8 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 20.
Yeah, no, it does look great, doesn't it? They still haven't sorted out the flag up on the...
no, I'm just looking at it.
Up on the cathedral.
Definitely...
we think it's slipped down the flagpole somehow.
Definitely think I can see something attached. But anyway.
It's going to be Josh Baker who's going to carry on. So 2 overs till tea, 2 more overs until we can dive into this cake, Frank. I'm looking forward to that. Alistair Orr, 95 balls he's faced. So he's shown the necessary resilience. He's batted throughout the session. Can he get through to tea? Let's see. In comes Baker over the wicket bowls. Rawlins is... not Rawlins. Oh, he's going to be run out. The throw comes in and Josh Baker is run out. Well, I'm afraid to say that completely sums up Sussex's day, Sussex's match and Sussex's season so far. That was utterly shambolic. It was played by Orr backward of square. Rawlins set off. Now, it was his call, to be fair, but there was never a single there. Rawlins is halfway down the wicket. I think Alistair Orr is within his rights to send him back. And he's totally stranded, is Delray Rawlins. He can't get back. The throw comes in. He's out. And so he's got 87 for 6. And that was a shambles, Frank.
Inexplicable. Absolutely inexplicable.
So
why? Why would you
it's
be
2 overs till tea?
Why would you be going for a run in that situation anyway? I mean, if you need 10 and over to win or something, it's different. But no, absolutely incredible. Whose was the throw? I didn't even see.
Well, I couldn't even believe. No. I mean,
I'm watching a replay now.
I think Orr is blameless there. We're watching the replay. He's played it.
No, we didn't see enough of it.
But
bizarre.
he played it to backward point, Rawlins called for the single. Whoever was running to that danger end was never going to make it. Dear, oh dear. This is, in fact, this is the last over.
No, one over after
one
this.
over after
Yeah.
this. Yeah, but it's the penultimate
Yeah.
over before tea.
Yeah.
It was a little bit like the Allsop run out before lunch.
Yeah, well, neither of them was necessary. Was it?
Two crazy run outs. Well, Grant Stewart comes out. He has got a first class 100 to his name, so, and I thought he batted well actually first time around today. But I think this really is. I mean, crumbs. Sussex are almost done and dusted here, aren't they? But Grant Stewart. But I think this is pretty much the last throw of the dice. If Sussex are going to take this into a final day, one of these two goes, and I think we'll definitely finish for. And certainly, if all goes, that will be it. And won't be back here tomorrow. Worcestershire fancy a day off, Frank. You know, it's a pretty unrelenting schedule in the Championship this year, and a day off is really welcome.
It was Ed Barnard with the throw, by the way.
Baker in, bowls down the leg side. Thank you for that. Taken by Cox. There is no run. I mean, the effect that has on the dressing room as well is, you know, I would imagine it's absolute silence up on that balcony at the moment. That was crazy. Baker in again, bowls, just
again.
avoids the diving fielder who's in there at that sort of leg slip position, or comes back for a second run, fielded by Joe Leach down on the boundary. Two more to Orr. He goes to 29.
I'd have two there, you know. I'd take Leach out, put him in front of square, and I'd move Haynes round into a second sort of short leg behind square, really. It's much more likely to go there, isn't it?
Yeah. Still can't believe that run out, to be honest. In comes Baker over the wicket, bowls, or just plays with us very straight back to mid wicket, and there is no run.
It's kind of symptomatic of the whole thing, though. It's scrambled thinking. It's not It's not one isolated incident. What are you doing? It's just the whole mood about the innings is confused, if you like. I think
Baker in, bowls to Orr, who defends.
I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm trying to explain it.
No, I agree.
And I've been there. You know, I've been in teams where it all goes wrong and everything falls apart, and you don't know why. You don't do stupid things on purpose. It just happens, really.
Here comes Baker again, and Orr just clips that behind square on the leg side. One more to Ali Orr. He goes to 30, and he's faced 101 balls as Ali Orr, so he is at least emerging with the second innings with a fair amount of credit. But Sussex are slipping, I'm afraid, to their second defeat of the season. They haven't won a county championship match since this time last year, when they beat Glamorgan in Cardiff, when Ollie Robinson bowled beautifully, taking 13 wickets in the match. And this will be their 6th defeat in their last 7 county championship matches. Tough times at Hove, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of Sussex supporters who are really concerned about where Sussex are heading at the moment, because this has really been a poor performance.
Joe Leach, last over before tea, comes in from the Diglis end, bowls to Orr, pushes out on the offside, fielded by Libby, coming in from cover. No run, 90 for 6 then, following on 222 behind. It's been all Worcestershire today. 11 wickets have gone down, and Alistair Orr, the only batsman in this second innings, really, to be honest, who's shown any kind of application.
Yeah, I would agree.
Whatsoever. He waits now. He's faced 102 deliveries. Leach is in. He bowls. Bouncer. All ducks underneath it. Negotiates it well. And yeah, it's been a good effort by Alistair Orr. So what's that? 34 overs gone, so that's 180. I mean, he's faced more or less half of the balls in the innings, Alistair Orr, and he stayed in, and the other half of the balls in the innings have taken 6 wickets, or 5 with the run out. mad run out, really silly. Here's Leach again. In, bowls, and Orr swings this round down to fine leg. Fielded by Pennington. It's probably off a glove, I think. It might have been sort of off the splice. Pennington fields well and returns. And they take a single, which means Grant Stewart will be on strike. Hasn't faced a ball yet. Be facing Leach, who's bowled really well in the game.
Yes.
He's picked up 6. And for us, I think, the other Worcestershire bowler who's been particularly impressive was Pennington. Only 1 wicket in this innings and only 2 in the first, but big wicket of Pujara twice, and bowled with hostility and real purpose, the young man. And he's also picked up a run out with a direct hit as well, Pennington, in the first innings. Had a pretty good day. Joe Leach coming in now to bowl to Grant Stewart. 3 balls left before tea. Stewart on loan from Kent. Got a first class 100. Bowled well in this game, we thought, as well, in the Worcestershire innings. One of the Sussex players that will come out of it with some credit. As Leach bowls to him, and he pushes this one out on the onside. Excitement, man. The Worcestershire fielders out there thinking about their tea times tomorrow. Golf, I meant, not
Yes.
cups of tea. If they get themselves a day off. Big game tomorrow in the Graham Williamson Trophy, which is the knockout version of the Birmingham League. Ombersley, that I've mentioned before, Premier League team, in comes Leach, and blocked by Stewart, are playing Worcestershire Academy in that cup. So big day for the Academy lads to pit their wits against the seniors of the Premier League. So that's a game of interest tomorrow for quite a few people. If there's no game on here, you could get up to Ombersley's ground and a lovely ground not far away from here, and watch that. Leach bowls and Stewart whips this away through mid-wicket. Good shot. Gonna get 4, I think. Just got the legs. No, it's not. Flicked back by Brett D'Oliveira, so he only gets 2. As ever, a second fielder is in attendance. That's what they do, isn't it, these days? One chases and the other one accompanies him in case he's going to flick it back, and Pat Brown, the substitute, did the job there, and it flicked it back, and there we are. That's tea here at New Road on this 3rd day of the County Championship game between Worcestershire and Sussex, and at tea Sussex are 93 for 6 in their second innings, having been invited to follow on. Alistair Orr is 31 not out and has played very well, and with him Grant Stewart is 2 not out, and that's after 35 overs of this second innings. And the men out: Haynes 10, Allsop 0, Pujara 12, Clark 8, Rizwan 4 and Rawlins 19. And the bowling figures for Worcestershire: Leach 9 overs 4 maidens 2 for 23, Morris 4 overs 1 maiden no wicket for 7, Barnard 7 overs no maidens 1 for 25, Pennington 5 overs 3 maidens 1 for 8, and Baker 10 overs 3 maidens 1 for 23. If you've been with us all afternoon, thank you very much for being with us. If you've been watching the stream and you've been inconvenienced by it being intermittent, then apologies for that, and I'm pleased to say it's back beyond our control. But meanwhile, from myself, Frank Watson and Adrian Harms here in the commentary box, thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you at around about 4:30. Welcome back to New Road in Worcester, where play's about to resume in the evening session of this game between, on the third day, Worcestershire and Sussex. Sussex 93 for 6, having been asked to follow on. And Baker is in and bowls to Alistair Orr, who's been there since the start. He's on 31 not out, having faced 106 deliveries now and held things together as best he can while wickets have fallen at the other end. Baker bowls to him and he gets a single, turning this one off his pads behind square on the leg side. Joe Leach, the fielder. And Orr goes on to 32. Grant Stewart comes on to strike. He's on 2. Stewart, who is on loan with Sussex from Kent, and he's batting for the second time today, having come in this morning as Sussex lost the last 5 wickets in their first innings before being asked to follow on, and he, in that innings, hit Baker for a big 6. Baker comes in and bowls, and he's pushing forward at this one, and it's fielded in the covers by Azhar Ali. No run. So Worcestershire have 31 overs left after this to try and take these remaining 4 wickets. And Stewart repeats his shot this morning against Baker, heaving this next one for 6 over long on. And as I said, he hit him for 6 this morning, and he hit him for 6 again. Baker won't be too worried, plenty of runs to play with, and he will just possibly push this next one through a little bit, one imagines, but we'll see. Comes in again now, bowls, does bowl it a bit quicker, and Stewart drives up to mid-on and goes through for a run, which was a bit risky. I think he'd have been in even if Livy had hit, but it would have been a bit, it was just, I don't think it's a very sensible run to take, let's say, at this stage, but he got away with it. He gets a single, he goes to 9, 100 is up, 101 for 6. And Baker now to bowl to the left-handed Orr. Comes in over the wicket and bowls, and Orr is back, turning this on the leg side, fielded at short leg by Jack Haynes. End of the first over after tea. So Sussex still trailing by 121, 4 wickets remaining, and 31 overs left in the day. Charlie Morris to take up the bowling attack. No, Dylan Pennington to take up the bowling attack from the Digley's end. And rejoining me, I'm pleased to say, is Adrian Harms.
Yes, I wonder whether we will see cricket here tomorrow. 31 overs to go in the day, and Dylan Pennington, who I think has bowled really, really well for Worcestershire. I mean, perhaps others will take the plaudits, but to get Pujara out twice in a day, he's bowled with real pace as well and aggression. I think he's been handled very well, I have to say, by Brett D'Oliveira. In my tea report I made, I said I think D'Oliveira deserves a lot of credit for the way he skippered the side and the runs he made, as Pennington is in bowls to Stewart, who plays on the onside and picks up a single. Does Grant Stewart. He goes to 10 and Sussex to 102 for 6. But I think Sussex made his job a bit easier than maybe it should have been. It's just talking about that run out at tea time. At the time I thought it was crazy, and nothing I've seen since. I mean, penultimate over before tea, just, well. Anyway, what's gone is gone, and Sussex just need to battle away here. I suspect if one of these two goes in the next half dozen overs or so, then we will not get to tomorrow, as in comes Pennington over the wicket, bowls, and all lets that go outside the off stump, and there is no run. Through to keeper Cox, 102 for 6. I don't think Sussex will get any help from the weather either, because the clouds are high, there's lots of pale blue sky around, and the forecast is pretty good for tomorrow as well. And it's not right if the side gets saved by the weather, really. Sort of papering over the cracks a little bit. 2 slips and a short leg of the close fielders. In comes Pennington, bowls, and Orr clips that to mid wicket, fielded there by D'Oliveira. And there is no run. What I think he has done, D'Oliveira, very successfully, and not just today. It's been a little easier for him today because of the state of the matches. But I thought yesterday, when there were only 2 wickets down, and he was searching for a wicket, he was still looking to juggle the bowling. He was moving his field around. He was being imaginative. I mean, I thought when Sussex were 155 for 2 yesterday, this game was heading for a draw. I'll be honest. I thought, well, they'll avoid the follow-on, and we'll be here at 5:30 or 5 o'clock on the last day. Pellington in bowls. Short and all ducks underneath that delivery to Cox, and there is no run.
Yeah, I think you're probably thinking like most people at that stage. But we mentioned key moments. There was that catch, wasn't there, by Jack Haynes yesterday, and then a couple of bursts of wickets, and it's just forcing home your advantage when you get a little window, isn't it? A little chink in the armour, and you've got to go through it, and that's what they've done well. D'Oliveira, as you say, has marshalled his troops well.
Pennington in again, bowls and all up on his toes and plays that into the offside, and there is no run. All remains on 32, 102 for 6. But he's done that really very well. He got Josh Baker into the attack. He rested his seamers. He bowled Leach at important times. So credit. Sometimes as a skipper things go wrong. There will be times this season when he'll make the wrong decision.
Sometimes they go well, and that's right.
But I just thought they were very positive in enforcing the follow-on. That said a lot to me.
Yeah.
We think we can get them out.
Yeah.
Pennington in again, bowls and all tucks in, plays it into the onside, fielded at short leg by Jack Haynes. There is no run. End of the over, 102 for 6. All 32, Stewart 10, listening to live cricket on the BBC, BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Hereford and Worcester, Adrian Harms and Frank Watson. Be good to get your emails, sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk. You can tweet at Frank Watson 58, at BBC Sussex Sport, or at Adrian Harms, and it'd be good to have your company over the next 30 overs, however long that will take. We may get through till 6 o'clock. Who knows, we may be back here tomorrow. But certainly if one of these two is out, I think in the next half dozen overs or so, the chances of it going to a 4th day would be slim.
Speaking of Twitter, Adrian, I always like to hear from listeners, and you find, don't you, people all over the world getting in touch, which is great. As Baker comes around the wicket, bowls to Stewart, who drives on the onside, Libby fields no run, and every now and again one of them follows you, and you pick up another follower, and you think that's good. Somebody else is keeping in touch. I mainly tweet about Worcestershire cricket. As Baker bowls again, and this one is driven down the ground for a single by Stewart. Goes to 11, 103 for 6. And every now and again have a little look and how many followers I've got. And I've got 994 now. I'd love to get to 1,000. No pressure, anybody, but if you'd like to follow me at Frank Watson 58, I'd love to get to 1,000. That'd be really nice. Here comes Baker over the wicket to the left-handed Alistair Orr, who goes back. Been really impressed with Alistair Orr in this inning. He's played very, very well. It's hard to keep your concentration when so much is happening at the other end. But I agree with you. He was right to send Rawlins back on that occasion when there was a run out, and he's tickled one round the corner and nearly been caught a couple of times. But pushing forward to this one, appeal for LBW, not given. I've got a follower, and that one goes out on the offside and is retrieved by Ben Cox running from behind the stumps. 103 for 6, or 32, 114 balls now.
Guess what, Frank?
That's immaterial.
I wasn't following you, but I am now.
It's you.
So how many are you up to now?
I need 7 more, I think.
I feel awful now. I suddenly thought, do I follow Frank? I do now.
103 for 6. Baker, sorry everybody, private joke really. Over the wicket, bowls to Orr, who turns that on the leg side. And it's fielded by Haynes at short leg. So end of the over from Baker, just the 1 run from it. 12 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 32 his figures. And it's 103 for 6. Oh, they're rattling in.
Yeah, he's getting loads and loads of follows.
So 103 for 6, and the deficit remains at 119.
Yeah.
So they are rattling in now. But bright sunshine now. The weather, as you say, is unlikely to play a part, and Dylan Pennington to continue from the Diglis end.
He is indeed racing into bowl to Grant Stewart. He's in and bowl. Some emails to read as Stewart plays it firmly down the track. Pennington fields of his own bowling, no run. So Clive Jacobs says, cancel the Sussex win and draw. The latest batting collapse is again in full flow and hardly cheery listening. The Sussex attack did not lack effort, but with so many absentees taking wickets and exerting control, we're always going to prove challenging, and so it's proved. We need an attack and some control. You'll spot on Adrian in highlighting the missing Jack Carson, whose control is sorely missed. Sussex have to go back to the drawing board, it seems. My regards, CJ. Frank is celebrating. I reckon he's got his 1,000
I'm over
follower.
the 1,000. Yeah, thanks very much, everybody.
In comes Pennington bowls. Stewart plays back down the track, fielded off his own bowling by Pennington. James has been in touch. James Trollope, in his email is just entitled Brainless. Peter has been in touch.
That's aimed at us.
His next one will be. I think he was referring to the run out. Peter has been in touch. He says perhaps the most extraordinary thing about the 2 run outs is that Rizwan wasn't involved for either of them. John puts a different slant on things. John Malone in Bexhill, as in comes Pennington bowls and Stewart drives down the ground. Good cricket all round, actually. Good bit of fielding at mid-on. Where's that, Libby down there? It was D'Oliveira. He's similar stature to Libby. Hi, Adrian and Frank, says John. I think we have to look at the 5-year plan. I believe we're in the 2nd year of it. The lads are young, and I would think if we do not have the injuries, illness and international call-ups, the young lads would have been helped by being rested at key times. Unfortunately, that's not possible at the moment. It's certainly true of the bowling attack. No question about that, John. As long as the management and coaches can see progression in the team, we have to buy into and support the project. Pennington in bowls and Stewart drives on the onside, and there is no run.
And that was from one of the coaching team, was it?
That's from John Malone at Bexhill. John, thanks for listening, and thanks everybody who's been in touch over the 3 days so far. With lots of interaction, which is great. It's really good to hear. So it's good to get the views. I think from a Sussex perspective, I know it's a bit of a football-y thing, this, but they talk about winning being a habit, but sadly losing can become a habit as well. Yeah. In comes Pennington bowls, and Stewart clips this nicely through mid-wicket. It's going to race away. Look at D'Oliveira chasing after the ball as if his life depends on it. Out to mid-wicket, a sliding stop. That is really
only 2. That's
I tell you what, that's a terrific example by the skipper, because it was clipped away through mid-wicket by Grant Stewart, and D'Oliveira, who's the skipper, might have thought to himself, you know what, I'm not going to chase. He's going to go for 4, but he did. He chased it as if it was the last over of a T20 match. Chased the ball down and instead of 4 it became 2, and that's really, for me, has epitomised the way Worcestershire have fielded in this game. They're absolutely trying to save every run, and they're really up for things. Pennington in a game bowls. Stewart is forward, plays to mid wicket. There is no run. End of Pennington's over at 7 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 11. But that 1 was the wicket of Pujara, the huge wicket. He's picked him up twice in a day. Sussex 105 for 6, so still needing, Frank, help me out here, another 117, is that right?
Yeah.
117 to avoid an innings defeat.
Yeah, 117. Yeah, just going back to John and Bexhill's point, I was only joking, but I mean, yes, that, you know, it's almost as though he's kind of agreeing with the messaging of the club and so on, as Baker comes in and bowls. And or is beaten outside the off stump, and that's fine. You know, of course it's a 5-year project, and of course these things take time, and of course they are young, and of course some key players have left. So all of those things have got to be taken into account. But at the same time, as you say, winning and losing can both become habitual as Baker bowls, and this is pushed out on the offside. I remember when the Bob Willis Trophy began, when that season began, 2020, when, you know, we'd waited a long time and we didn't start till the 1st of August, and Baker is in and bowls, and all the players pushed out on the onside now, and all the players have been practicing all winter and then didn't have anything to play for until August. I remember that Alex Gidman, the Worcestershire head coach, said the thing we worked on over that winter, 1920, Baker bowls and Orr is beaten, taken on the pad, it flicks to slip, gathered by Barnard as an appeal, but it's not out. He said the thing we worked on is becoming more difficult to beat. Not winning games yet, but not losing games. We've lost too many games in the previous 2 years, 2018, 2019. Baker in. bowls to Orr, who's forward, on pushing out on the onside, and there's no run. And that was the stated aim, and they did that. They lost fewer games. They became harder to beat. That happened in 2020 and 2021. And now they need to add to that ability to win games, which is the next hurdle, as it were. Baker bowls, all leaves, taken by Cox. And they nearly won at Leicester last time, and they didn't get a wicket, and you'd hope they're going to go on to win this game. End of the over from Baker, 105 for 6. But that's key, I think. It's that mindset change. And what you're saying, really, Adrian, is that at the moment, with the way things have gone, Sussex they're at the other end of it, and they've got to change that.
They have.
Somehow they've got to change it. And you can't just flick a switch. It's a combined effort, lots of work in the practice. In practice, lots of training, lots of meetings, lots of talking, lots of planning, lots of determination, grit, execution of the plans, all those sort of things. It's all got to come together. So much easier to say than do.
Pennington into Stewart, beats him outside the off stump, taken by Cox, and there is no run.
Sorry.
No, go on.
All I would say is, and I speak as a Worcestershire supporter, but as a cricketer, all I would say to Sussex fans and so on is be patient, and don't necessarily excuse bad performances, but try and understand them, try and explain them. And even that run out I was saying earlier, I've been in teams where it all goes wrong and your thinking gets scrambled and people make bad decisions. It happens.
Pennington in bowls to Stewart, who's struck on the pad. That looked, from the way that Stewart was playing, as if it was maybe sliding down the leg side. A rather stiff looking Joe Leach comes running in from deep square. But it's a single, 105 for 6. Grant Stewart, we say, has made a first class 100 for Kent, 103, so he's no mug with the bat. Ali twiddles away with his bat. Look, he's spinning and spinning and spinning. He's still doing it. Pennington bowling with 2 slips.
One of the best bat spinners I've ever seen.
Herring in bowls to Orr, and Orr is forward. Pennington fields of his own bowling, and there is no run.
The 2 great bat spinners that I remember most: Alex Stewart, Dennis Amiss.
Right.
Dennis Amiss, way back in the day.
Yeah, way back when.
Yeah,
he was a brave batsman. I remember that series against the West Indies.
Yeah.
Didn't he resist
Got
at the Oval?
100 at the Oval, didn't he? Yeah,
against
got
Michael
around his legs in the end, walking across
against Michael Holding.
Yeah, and he got 262 not out, saving a Test match at Kingston, Jamaica as well, I think.
In comes Pennington bowls, and Orr looks to pull that down towards fine leg. Jake Libby is waiting just in case. There's also, so in terms of the field, which I should describe on the leg side, because they clearly see this as maybe a weakness of Ali Orr's. They've got they've got a fine leg down in front of us. There's a deep backward square. There's a short leg, a mid wicket, and a mid on. D'Oliveira looking pensive, just sort of holding his hand to his chin as if to say, well, I wonder if there's something else I could do here. Pennington turns, and he's on his way again. Bowls, and Orr ducks underneath. That flies through to keeper Cox. There is no run. He's faced 125 deliveries, has Alistair Orr, for his 32. Battling away hard for his county. The rest of the field is 2 slips, point, and a mid-off. So a 5-4 field as Pennington turns, and tall man bowls at a good pace. Got a good action as well. Races into the wicket, attacks the crease, bowls to Orr, and Orr is forward and his head rocks back, but he manages to defend the ball to mid-on. It's another ball negotiated by Orr. 106 for 6. Or 32. Stewart is on 13. I think, what was that read out by the announcer? Was that a rugby score?
I think it might have been. Yeah,
I think because the Worcester. I think Worcester. Are they called the Worcester Warriors?
Worcester Warriors.
Right,
yeah,
okay.
Dave Bradley, who does the PA, and obviously, as Worcester listeners will know, does this as well. Is the correspondent for BBC Hereford and Worcester, so he's very interested. I don't follow it quite so much. Dennis Amiss, 262 not out, 1973-74 Kingston Test. An innings that saved the Test match for England. That's some recollection from my childhood there. Josh Baker to continue from the New Road end, round the wicket to the right-handed Grant Stewart, bowls, and Stewart goes back and punches this straight down the ground, picks up a single. Jake Libby is the fielder, and just had a message from my daughter to say that my grandson, who's only 3, is listening to me now. If I want to give him a shout out, well, I will do that shamelessly. I hope you'll forgive me. So shout out to my 3-year-old grandson Hal. Hello Hal, I hope you're having a good day. Probably be puzzled why you can hear his granddad's voice from the television or something.
Yeah.
Baker in over the wicket, bowls, and this is turned on the leg side by Ali. Or I've made my first tentative attempt to get him interested in cricket in the back garden. So far, he's resisting my attempts to teach him how to grip the bat properly, a la Cheteshwar Pujara, as we were talking about this morning. As Baker is in, pushes this one through a bit more, and Orr just steers it down on the offside. Barnard comes from slip to field. Orr 32 of 128 balls now. Really, really determined and watchful innings from him. 107 for 6. Baker again in, bowls, and Orr is forward, taken on the pad. Baker goes down in one of those sort of imploring appeals, kneeling on one knee, arms upraised in supplication, but the umpire not interested. Maybe just feeling that Azhar had got so far forward. I mean, they're more likely to come out these days on the front foot than they used to be, but that was a long way forward. Orr this time looking to force the ball out on the offside, just gets a sort of bottom inside corner on it and squeezes it back up the pitch to Baker. 107 for 6. 1 ball left in this, the 42nd over of the Sussex second innings. Baker bowls and Orr is forward, misses it, and Cox doesn't take it clean. The end of the over, and it's 107 for 6. 25 overs left in the day, and just entering one of those periods where Worcestershire need a breakthrough, and who's going to provide that moment of inspiration?
Well, I'm sure for young Hal, I'm sure Grandad's going to buy a nice big bag of sweets on his way home, isn't he?
Well,
come on, Grandad.
Yeah. Well, I'm not passing his house on my way home, actually. It's the other end of Worcester.
Right.
And I'm off into the Vale of Evesham. But apparently he heard it, and he heard his name, so
lovely.
That's great, yeah.
Wonderful. Dylan Pennington's going to pick up the attack from the Digley's end of the ground. He's running in towards us. Bowls, and Stewart is forward and plays defensively onto the onside. And there is no run. I was just looking at Sussex's last win in the county championship. It came last April when they won by 8 wickets in Cardiff. Ollie Robinson with match figures of 13 for 128, and it was a really flat deck, and he bowled beautifully.
That's pretty good figures on a flat deck, isn't it?
And the second innings he took 9 for 78. Kieran Carlson made 100 in both innings for Glamorgan. No one was there to watch it, unfortunately. We were still in COVID times, as in comes Pennington bowls and driven by Stewart to mid-on, and there is no run. But since then, Sussex haven't won a game in the county championship.
Interesting in the sense that a bowler gets 15 wickets in a game. They've obviously bowled magnificently, but you're already asking questions about the pitch, aren't you? And then you say, well, somebody in the other team got 100 in both innings, so it can't have been a bad.
Oh no, it was a good pitch. So
yeah, that's a fantastic performance, isn't it?
In comes Pennington again, bowls, and Stewart reaches. In fact, pulls it away. It might have gone for 6 runs
think
actually.
It might well be.
But it's gone for 4. He reached for that outside the off stump and just dragged it around through mid wicket.
Swivelling tennis shot.
Yeah, good shot. He goes to 18. Just Grant Stewart, 111 for 6. Yeah, the scores in the match: Glamorgan, Sussex. Glamorgan 285, Sussex 481, Glamorgan 349, and Sussex 154 for 2. So, and it was a flat deck, and I've never that's the best I've ever seen Ollie Robinson bowl. I've seen him bowl a lot and take a lot of wickets, and it was absolutely magnificent. I think the ball is damaged here,
Again, I don't think it's a very good batch, do you?
Well,
because that's the 3rd time today that the ball's had to be changed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happened when Grant Stewart hit a 6 off Baker this morning.
Here we go, going to get another ball.
Yeah, and it's happened again now. Whether they're not a very good batch or they're just unlucky with what they're hitting. But, I mean, that one went over to the seats over there.
Well, 12th man's come running out. He's got a box of balls.
Poor old Jack.
He's got a helmet and he's got a box of balls, and he dropped the box of balls.
Well, those ball boxes,
a bit flimsy.
They're very flimsy.
Yeah,
they're those sort of folded over cardboard, and the 6 cricket balls quite heavy, and they're quite flimsy. So he has my sympathy, poor old Jack Banton, with the bib on. 12th men always have to wear a bib these days, don't they? Oh, that was a COVID thing, but it looks as though it's going to carry over, doesn't it? And there he is, Jack Banton. He's out there showing the umpires the ball, or the box of balls, and they're going to select one that matches suitably one that's 42.3 overs old. 111 for 6. The dreaded Nelson. The men out today, if you're just joining us. Well, 5 this morning. First innings, Sussex resuming on 169 for 5 overnight, and then they lost Rawlings for 10, Pujara crucially, who made 100 for 109, Stewart 18, Allsop 28, and Burrows without scoring. Crocombe was 15 not out. First innings total was 269, which meant a deficit of 222. Worcestershire enforced the follow on, and in this afternoon session, Haynes, well, in the afternoon session, not this afternoon session, Haynes out for 10, Allsop without scoring, Pujara for 12, Clark for 8, Rizwan for 4, and Rawlins for 19. But no wickets since tea. Here's Pennington.
In bowls, and Stewart, I think he drove across the line there, and he's managed to squeeze the ball through mid-wicket. Again, a rather stiff-looking Joe Leach comes running in, fields the ball. And it's another single to Grant Stewart, who goes to 19, Sussex to 112 for 6. It kind of feels at the moment almost as if we're sort of delaying the inevitable. But, as Frank and I have kept on saying, you've seen enough cricket matches to know that, you never quite know what's going on. Joe Leach is warming up now. I mean, it's almost inconceivable that Sussex can escape from this. But Orr and Stewart are just doing all they can to battle away for their county. Pennington in, bowls to Orr. Nice little clip off the hip by Alistair Orr down to fine leg. He goes to 33 off 132 balls. Sussex 112 for 6. Dylan Pennington wanders back to his mark at the far end. I thought then as the throw came in to Jack Haynes, he was trying to catch the ball almost in his helmet. He had a helmet in one hand and he was trying to hold the helmet, catch the ball. He throws the helmet. Now there's 4 helmets on the outfield, all in a line. You don't see that too often. Behind wicket-keeper Cox. Pennington is in sun at the far end of the ground, the cathedral looking thoroughly magnificent in the sunshine, as in comes Pennington over the wicket bowls, and Stewart up on his toes, plays to mid-wicket. There is no run. End of the over. Stewart is on 19, Sussex 113 for 6. For those of you who are just joining us a bit late, wonder what on earth has happened today. Well, Sussex lost their final 5 wickets this morning for exactly 100 runs, following on behind by 222. Cheteshwar Pujara top scored with an excellent 109. Then in reply, Sussex collapsing, having been asked to follow on. Haynes for 10, Allsop first ball, Pujara for 12, Clark for 8, Rizwan for 4, Rawlins for 19. Alistair Orr is defying the Worcestershire attack. He's on 33. Grant Stewart is on 19. We've another 24 overs to go in the day to see if Worcestershire can wrap this up inside 3 days.
And the first of those is being bowled now by Josh Baker. Over the wicket to Alistair Orr, who's resisted everything they've thrown at him. He's had a little bit of luck, edged one just short of slip and had one turned off his pads, possibly through the hands of leg slip, but he's stuck in and he's forward to this one, taken on the pad. There's a big shout for LBW, but umpire Wharf is unmoved. Doesn't look like an umpire that can easily be pressured, does he?
No.
Alex Wharf, absolutely solid as a rock in all the decisions he's given in this game. Completely, it would seem, certain the rectitude of his judgment, and I think that's excellent. Here's Baker again, bowls, and Orr just turns this one on the leg side, and there's no run. 113 for 6 it remains.
Well, nothing worse is there when umpires don't seem to give a decision due consideration. I think it don't matter what form of cricket you play in.
Absolutely. Baker in, bowls to Orr, who sweeps, and there's another appeal, this time for a take down the leg side by Pollock, but I think it's come off the pads. There's a little picture of my attempt to teach Hal to play cricket with his new cricket set. He's only just 3.
Is he?
Baker over the wicket. Sorry for that.
Come on, Frank. You've got to get him.
Got to get him in. Baker over the wicket, bowls, and all lets that go outside the offside. I must say I'm impressed because not only has Alistair Orr resisted for 138 balls now, for his 33. But it's all going on around him. There's a cluster of fields. They'll be having a little chat as well, and he's unperturbed by that, and he's unperturbed by the appeals and everything else. He's just remained an island of calm. But he's out now, caught at short leg. That one's popped up. So I've talked him out there. Sorry to the oars. Just as you join me, Worcestershire get the real breakthrough that they wanted. Alistair Orr, the Sussex opener, has resisted and resisted. He's faced 138 balls, only made 33 runs, but he's held things together right from the start, and he's just been dismissed by Josh Baker, who's got one to just turn and bounce a little bit out of the rough, and he's popped a catch up on the leg side, and it's been taken by Jack Haynes at short leg, which means that Sussex are 113 for 7 now, and they're still trailing by 109 runs. So Worcestershire have a further 22 overs, beg your pardon, today to take the last 3 wickets. It's been an outstanding performance from the home side, forcing Sussex to follow on for 222, and then removing Haynes for 10. Allsop without scoring. Pujara, first innings centurion, for 12. Clark for 8, Rizwan for 4, Rawlins for 19, and then since tea, just a moment ago, the key wicket of Alistair Orr, caught by Haynes at short leg off the bowling of Josh Baker for 33. So Sussex 113 for 7, still trailing by 109. Big wicket that for Baker.
Huge wicket,
Big
yeah,
wicket.
and I would be absolutely amazed now if Sussex can take this into a 4th day, and straight. I think Joe Leach was going to bowl anyway, but
yeah, he was. I think,
Worcestershire fancy a day off, no question about that, and it would be a major surprise if. Well, Sussex are going to. I mean, bearing a miracle with the weather, which is going. And let's be honest, Sussex have been outplayed in this game, haven't they? Worcestershire have from the first morning.
Well, yeah, first session,
yeah,
really.
Yeah,
it was that Pollock innings that set the tone. I suppose you could say at that point yesterday where Sussex were 155 for 2, they were still very much in it, but since then,
no, it's
been one-way traffic,
absolutely. Well, Leach is going to come in. He's going to bowl to Grant Stewart. He's in and bowls, and Stewart is forward and plays to mid-off. There is no run. Alistair Orr resisted as long as he could, face 138 balls for his 33 runs, but with fielders clustered around. Good bowling by Baker. Got to say, good captaincy again from D'Oliveira.
Yeah. Kept him going.
Yeah, they kept the trap in, and the pressure's mounting. It's so windy out there actually that who's that who's lost his
Baker.
cap? Josh Baker, his cap's just blown off. So it is breezy. The tree swaying, and swaying was the word I was looking for earlier. In comes Leach, running in bowls. Stewart plays and misses outside the off stump, taken by Cox.
Swaying like a drunk on the way home from the pub. The best simile I can think of.
Very good.
Just gently rocking from side to side. Yeah, it was a good bit of bowling, wasn't it? And again, I agree with you. I think D'Oliveira's captaincy has been spot on in this
really
game.
Good. Really very good.
But as you say, you have your days, you have your games where it works, and you have your days where it doesn't.
In comes Leach again, bowls, and Stewart plays down the onside. There is no run. Grant Stewart with Sussex for a month. You'd imagine he's a certain starter next week against Durham. Sussex will be hoping upon hope that Ollie Robinson is fit to play, and I think probably more importantly allowed to play by England. I mean, Ollie was explaining the other day it's all about loads and how much work you've done.
Is that home or away?
Home.
Oh, it's a long trip, isn't it?
For Durham, yeah. But Sussex will be desperate for Ollie Robinson to play. In comes Leach and bowls. Stewart lets that go outside the off stump. There is no run, but there, that will give some potency to the attack, and that's been the problem. They just, the opposition are getting huge amounts of runs, and Sussex are just battling away every game to try and survive. That time we had a bit of a look around the other games actually, because Worcestershire look like they're going to win here. So I'd have a look at the other games in the second division as Leach on his way again. Bowls, forward is Stewart, plays to mid-wicket, no run. Leicester all sorts of trouble at home against Derbyshire, 88 for 4 they are. still trailing by 230. So looks like Derbyshire, after 2 draws, are going to pick up their first win of the season. Middlesex have already beaten Glamorgan. It looks like Notts are on course for a sizable victory against Durham as well, as in comes Leach and Bowles, and Stewart manages to sort of fiddle that one down to fine leg. He picks up a single, does Grant Stewart. He's going to keep the strike as well. End of the over, 114 for 7. Stewart goes to 20. At the end of the over, Joe Leach, 10 overs, 4 maidens, 2 for 24. So Sussex needing another 108 if they're going to avoid an innings defeat. Yeah, up at Durham, Durham have absolutely subsided, 88 for 5. Still trailing Notts by 170. Steve Borthwick is holding firm. He's 16 not out, but that looks almost inevitable win there for Nottinghamshire, probably the favourites to get promoted.
Josh Baker round the wicket, bowls to Grant Stewart, who eases him through the covers for a single, brings the new batsman Henry Crocombe on to strike. Single to Stewart, 115 for 7. Stewart goes to 21. He's got those quite quickly. Neither of these two is a bunny, are they? I mean, Crocombe is more than capable with the bat.
Yeah.
And there's no reason why they can't stick around. But, excuse me, you just wonder what their mindset is, really. Because whether you like it or not, even though you might not even admit it to yourself, I suspect, in this position, as Baker bowls to Crocombe, and beats his forward push, takes him on the pad. They appeal, but it's going down the leg side. I suspect that there's a part of your mind that's thinking, well, the batters haven't done it, so, you know, why should I, really? These two are both members of the seam attack. Baker bowls, and Crocombe is forward, pushing back up the pitch. And I don't even mean that as a kind of conscious thought. I just mean it's kind of part of your thinking. The mindset. You can't help it, really. The whole thing is subsiding, isn't it? As Baker is in and bowls, and Crocombe drives. Azhar Ali dives. No, I don't think so. Just dives forward. It was along the ground, I think, and fields. But it's just, yeah, you know, I mentioned it when something sort of isn't going right. Baker in, bowls, quicker ball, left alone, taken by Cox. For no reason, you can't put your finger on it. Nothing works, and people make silly mistakes. Baker bowls, and Crocombe comes down the pitch and looks to drive that, and just whips it on the onside, and it hits Jack Haynes on the foot at short leg and rebounds across the pitch. End of the over, 115 for 7. And just as, I suppose, in reverse, when everything goes really well, again, you can't quite put your finger on why. It's a combination of factors, plans working out, people performing at their best, a collective belief and purpose, and it all comes together, and there you go. You know, suddenly we're winning. It's very difficult to put your finger on. It's the conundrum of captaincy and coaching, I suppose, all rolled together. For management, for football team, or whatever.
Yeah. In comes Joe Leach. Sun has got him momentarily. Bowls to Stewart. He's going to get not 4 runs, I don't think. The ball is rolling out towards the cover boundary. Baker is in hot pursuit. Gets in the throw to Cox, but 2 more to Grant Stewart, who goes to 23. Sussex 117 for 7. Still needing another 105 if they're going to make Worcestershire back again. A slip. In fact, there are 2 slips in place. There's no deep backward point to cover a mid-off. Mid-on, mid-wicket. And a fine leg as in comes Stewart again. Stewart. Here comes Leach again. Bowls to Stewart, who plays that again to mid-off. They're going to go through for the single, and it went straight to Charlie Morris, who made as if to shy at the stumps, but he decided not to. It was a well-judged single, in fairness, by Stewart, who goes to 24. I mean, if you're looking for olive branches for Sussex supporters, well, actually, I think Grant Stewart's had a decent game. I think he was probably the pick of the bowlers alongside Tom Haynes. He made, what did he make in the first innings? 20. Made 18.
Was he out?
Yeah, he was 8. He was caught by Pollock off Barnard. He made 18,
yeah.
But he bowled nicely, and you know, if you're looking at getting somebody in, he did pose a few problems. A few more messages have come in as Comes Leach and Bowles, and clears the onside by Crocombe. There is no run. Gary Knight's been in touch. He says apologies for the lengthy email. A very disappointing day again for Sussex. However, I do echo your co-commentator's words when he said that supporters need to remember the club is still in the early stages of a major rebuilding exercise and that supporters need to show some patience. I fully appreciate days like this are very hard to do it, but they are mitigating factors that can't be ignored. We'll carry on reading this email as we go through the over, as in comes Leach, running in and Bowles, and Crocombe plays to mid-wicket. There is no run. I feel the main one was the late decision by Travis Head not to take up the role of captain. The club had clearly invested in him, and I feel his experience, enthusiasm and batting ability would have been hugely beneficial. This was then compounded with the mounting injuries and unavailability of key players, particularly amongst the bowlers. The bowling lineup in this match could easily have been Finn Hudson-Prentice, Garton, Ibrahim and Carson, none of whom were available.
Yeah.
A couple more points he makes. Does Gary? Leach in again. Bowles. Crocombe defends. 2 mid on. There is no run. He said, losing the toss consistently and asking a largely inexperienced attack to take 20 wickets and a huge ask. Having said that, I don't excuse some of the individual performances so far this season. Surely bowlers should be expected to provide a consistent line and length instead of being wildly erratic. There are some grounds of optimism, however. Haynes and Orr are fine young batters with sound techniques and good mental attitudes. Tom Clark clearly has ability. Henry Crocombe shows potential. These are desperate times for Sussex supporters, but surely the right thing to do is to back the team, as in comes Leach, running in over the wicket. Bowles. Crocombe defends through point. Oh, well, they take a single to move in from cover, did Josh Baker, but Crocombe pinches the strike and he gets his first run. Sussex to 119 for 7. Desperate times for Sussex supporters, but surely the right thing to do is back the team when they need support and hope that performances improve as the season continues and key players return. Thank you very much, Gary, for that long email, but some really interesting points you've made there.
Spot on, I think. Absolutely spot on.
And I don't mean, and we've got lots of Worcestershire listeners, and I don't mean this to be a post-mortem for Sussex, because we have to recognise that they have been completely outplayed by Worcestershire, who've been extremely good.
Yeah, and Worcestershire have, they've been in the doldrums as well at various times. But Gary's right. I agree with almost all of that. I think he's spot on. It's about patience, and it's cyclical. And it's more difficult than ever for the counties without the financial clout necessarily to turn things around. There's Baker round the wicket, Bowles to Crocombe, who drives sweetly into the covers. No run. And when you've had success under the likes of Jason Gillespie and Chris Adams years and so on, it's difficult to Mark Robinson and all that. It's difficult to suddenly feel that those days are long gone, and you've got to remember that it took time for those days to come around, and you've got to rebuild. I mean, it's only last year when Sussex were here, I'll just break off as Baker Bowles and Crocombe drives back to the bowler, that I certainly was saying what a thrill it was to see a bunch of young bucks, really. I know that they didn't win in the end, but some great performances in that game from young players as Baker Bowles, and that's driven nicely by Crocombe. Good save at mid-on by Jake Libby, tumbling to his left.
Neil Hartley has sent in a very interesting email, which I'll read at the end of this over, because Josh Baker doesn't hang around in between deliveries.
And they took a run there. Crocombe goes to 220 for 7. Neil Hartley, famous name, he used to play for Yorkshire. Probably not him. Here's Baker in, Bowles to Stewart, who just plays that sort of bottom-handed punch up the ground, and Libby comes in off the boundary at long on to do the fielding. Stewart moves on to 25. He's played well. Top scorer in this innings, isn't he? Top scorer. Oh no, he's not, because All got more, didn't he?
All got 33.
Of course he did. Baker in and Bowles, and he's forward. Crocombe inside edge, running around behind square on the leg side for a single. Yes, of course he did. Caught by Haynes off the bowling of Baker for 33.
There's some rather more heavier cloud coming in away to our left over the hotel.
Yeah, and that's where the weather is coming from. It does look a bit grey.
It does, yeah.
Baker from the New Road end, round the wicket, Bowles to Crocombe, who smacks this away. Stewart, I should say. I should recognise that bottom-handed punch that he plays so well. And gets another single as Libby again tumbles to his left to do the fielding. So 123 for 7, at the end of the over, and Charlie Morris coming on to replace Joe Leach at the Digley's end. So D'Oliveira continuing to juggle his bowling resources, keep Baker going at one end, keep it tight. Certainly that ball to Orr did bounce and turn a little bit, and rotating his seamers at the other end. Pennington having given way to Leach, who has now given way to Morris.
It's a really interesting email from Neil. He says Sussex's injury absentees have been well discussed this season. However, I want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier today. The number of players at Sussex who only play white ball cricket. What are these players actually doing at this stage of the season? He says, question mark. More to come. Morris runs in and bowls to Stewart, who hammers this one into the covers, filled by Baker, no run. Why can't they come into a depleted championship side and get some match practice at least? Obviously these questions aren't for you to answer, but I'd like to understand the situation better. Will Beer, for example, could fill the gap for a spinner, whilst Carson recovers and Coles is studying at college. But Parr or Wright surely have something to offer in the red ball game too. To say they're only contracted for white ball cricket is not a satisfactory answer, in my opinion. Interesting email from Neil. Thank you very much. Morris bowls to Stewart, who flays that one out to the sweeper on the cover boundary. One more to Grant Stewart. He goes to 27. Sussex won 24 for 7, needing another 98 to avoid an innings defeat. And James has been in touch and says, he says, commentating on a losing team must be almost as depressing as playing in one. Well, we love what we do is the thing, James. It's wonderful to be able to commentate on cricket. So, yeah, I'm not depressed. In comes Morris, and Croker with a play and a miss outside the off stump, and there is no run.
It's a good one, that. Could have left it, but it nipped away quite sharply, that one.
I need to do an update.
So well bowled, Charlie Morris. Just got to keep persevering. 4.5 overs he's bowled so far. No wicket for 8. Very tidy. 2 slips, the only close catches. He's got a man on the drive at sort of short mid wicket as well. Comes in from the Digley's end and bowls, and that one is left alone this time by Crocombe, and it's a good leave actually, although there were arms raised in the slips. It was quite wide of the off stump and it didn't bounce much as it scooted through to Ben Cox behind the stumps. So 18 overs left in the day, but heavy cloud building in the northeast, as suggested by Adrian a moment or two ago, as Morris moves in again from the Digley's end and bowls, and whipped away by Crocombe on the leg side.
Nice shot
for 4. Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Just over pitched on leg stump from Morris, to be fair, and clipped away, and goes to the boundary. No update.
I'm going to do it in a minute. They're still playing music. But one thing I would say, James, is it's disappointing for Sussex, but at the end of the day, there are some pretty important things going on in the world, aren't they? And you know, maybe cricket or how teams are performing with what is going on. You have to put it in some sort of perspective. That being said, it's not a great day for Sussex.
Yeah. But you've got to keep a bit of perspective, as you say. Here's Morris again. He's into Crocombe again, and he gets a run. Just steers this one down on the offside, and fielded by Baker coming in from cover. End of Morris's over, a tidy one, and his figures now 5 overs, 1 maiden, no wicket for 13. And Baker to continue from the New Road end, 129 for 7. Sussex then still trailing by 94 runs, 93 runs actually, I think, and 18 overs left in the day for Worcestershire to pick up these last 3 wickets, and they've just got to keep at it. The Worcestershire players just keep pegging away and see what's what. It's going to be Crocombe on strike and Baker to bowl, left arm round the wicket. He bowls, Crocombe goes back, pushes this back up pitch to the bowler. 17 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 38. Baker's impressive figures. He's bowled pretty well today, the young man. Comes in again now. and bowls, and Crocombe comes down the pitch and skies that up in the air, and he is caught by D'Oliveira running back from mid-off. Really good piece of cricket from Worcestershire all round there, I feel, because D'Oliveira had put himself and Libby just sort of halfway back rather than all the way back at mid-off and mid-on, and basically saying to Crocombe, you can still hit him over the top if you want to. And Crocombe took on the challenge as Baker gave that one a little bit more air and skied the ball into the air, and Brett D'Oliveira, moving back from mid-off about 10-15 yards, kept his eyes on it and completed the catch. So a third wicket for young Josh Baker, and Henry Crocombe has gone for 8, and Sussex are staring down the barrel now, 129 for 8, and Jamie Atkins comes out to join Grant Stewart. We've got 18 overs left in the day, and Worcestershire need 2 wickets to wrap up this victory. I must say, when they enforced the follow-on at lunch, I don't think any of us thought it was going to be over today, but we were aware that Cheteshwar Pujara was a key wicket, and when Dylan Pennington knocked his poles over with the score on 37, and that was the third wicket to go down, with Haynes and Allsop having already been picked up by Joe Leach in successive deliveries, 37 for 3 in the 13th over of a follow-on. You feared the worst, and as the clouds gather in the northeastern sector here at New Road, and Sussex's number 10 batsman Jamie Atkins comes out to join Grant Stewart, it could well be over tonight, weather permitting. Josh Baker, 3 for 38 in his 18th over, comes in round the wicket now and bowls to Atkins, who's forward, pushing out on the onside. No run. Atkins, who was he was out for naught in the first innings, but came in as night watchman. Waits now as Baker bowls to him again, and just pushes this one up to mid-on where Libby fields. 129 for 8, the Sussex score. So still trailing by 93 runs as Baker is in. He bowls, and Atkins drives nicely up to mid-off where D'Oliveira fields. A couple of changes to the field, sends out 2 sweepers, basically saying you can have a run if you want one, Jamie Atkins, and we'll have a bowl at you at the other end. Baker is in, he bowls, and Atkins is forward, pushes out to Azhar Ali at short extra and says, no, I won't take a run, thank you, and stays where he is. So 129 for 8. Atkins yet to get off the mark, Stewart 27, and Josh Baker excellent today, 18 overs, 6 maidens, 3 for 38. And Charlie Morris to continue from the Diglis end in what has been another fine group effort by the Worcestershire bowling attack, and they've hunted as a pack, as they say, throughout this game. Morris from the Diglis end bowls to Stewart, who drives and gets a single, out to Libby, who's at deep backward point, sends the throw back into Cox, and that brings Atkins, the number 10 batsman, on to strike against Morris. A model of economy, Charlie Morris. 5.1 overs, 1 maiden, no wicket for 14. And gonna have a go now at Jamie Atkins. 3 slips. Pollock at first, Haynes at second, Barnard at third, as Morris moves in towards us from the Diglis end now, and bowls to Atkins, who's beaten outside the off stump. Played at that one, just went back and offered a sort of less than convincing backward defensive shot at it, and it just passed the outside edge and went through to the wicket keeper. 130 for 8 it remains. Worcestershire striving to take these last 2 wickets, 16 overs left in the day after this. Here comes Morris. He's in to bowl to Atkins, who steers this one out on the offside, just behind square, Libby Fields. There's no run. Healthy crowd in still here on a chilly day. Most of them gathered at this New Road end of the ground where the hotel and the stand allow them to sort of shelter from the prevailing wind, which is northeasterly, unusually. And most of them being Worcestershire supporters, they've enjoyed what they've seen. Here's Morris in, bowls, and Atkins drives at that, misses it. It goes through to Cox, and then he does what he should have done and kind of rehearses a leave, thinking should have left that. But he did play at it. It was probably wide enough to leave. And he just rehearses that leave again now as Morris makes his way back to his mark once more. 130 for 8. 2 balls left in this over, 16 left after this. And here's Morris. He's in and he bowls, and Atkins is hit on the pad. There's a big shout for LBW, but umpire, who is it? James Middlebrook, thinking, and quite rightly, looking at the replay, that was actually slanting eye down the leg side. Been impressed with the umpires in this game. I think they've made good, accurate, clear decisions. And they've given it thought before they've given anybody out. I think they've both given an impression of complete calm and good judgment. James Middlebrook and Alex Wharf, they've had a good game in my opinion. Not that anybody will care about my opinion when it comes to umpires, but there we go. Here's Morris in, bowls, and Atkins plays nicely out on the offside and gets a single as Baker moves to his right at extra cover, and nobody's bothered on the Worcestershire side that they've got that single, because they'd rather Baker was bowling at Atkins than the rather more accomplished Stewart. 131 for 8.
David Lines has been in touch. Hello David, he says thank you both for your entertaining commentary after the last few days. Well, it's been a pleasure, and it looks unlikely this will go to a fourth day, so it's an opportune time to say thank you to Frank and everybody here at Worcester, because as the visiting commentator, you're always made extremely welcome here at New Road, and it's, you know, a favourite ground of mine. So if I forget to do it, let's thank everyone. In comes Josh Baker coming into bowl to Jamie Atkins, and Atkins with a flick of the wrist plays that to mid-wicket, and there is no run. He goes on to say the fact that Ben Brown has just scored a century and taken 5 catches for Hampshire in their current match only break off for a moment.
Yeah. Yes, well, when you last joined me, Josh Baker had just taken that key wicket of Alistair Orr to make it 122 for 7, and he's followed that up with another wicket. Henry Crocombe caught by Brett D'Oliveira running back from mid-off just a couple of moments ago for 8. That was 129 for 8. And Baker, very impressively, the young 18-year-old in his 19th over so far, has picked up 3 for 38 in this Sussex second innings there. 131 for 8. Atkins on 1. Grant Stewart, who's on loan to Sussex from Kent, still there on 28. But with 15 overs left in the day, Worcestershire will be hoping to get this wrapped up tonight. That's a good bit of fielding by Jake Libby.
Yeah, very good bit of fielding. Single to Atkins. He goes to 2. 132 for 8.
And back to your...
Yeah, I'll finish this email. So he says the fact that Ben Brown has just scored a century and taken 5 catches for Hampshire in their current match only demonstrates the disastrous management at Sussex. I'm fed up with the excuses given out, and surely it's time for the Director of Cricket to go. As a member for the last 30 years, I've seen lots of ups and downs. These appear to a large extent self-inflicted, says David. Thank you for your email, David. sussexcricket@bbc.co.uk. The light is not great now, and there's quite a lot of heavy cloud around. I just wonder whether there might be a bit of... There were sort of the odd shower forecast.
Would they want to spend another night here if they have to? I'm kind of dubious about that. I'll tell you somebody who wants some play tomorrow.
Go on.
Our friend Gary Smith from Sligo, with his foot up, wrapped in bandages after his Achilles tendon surgery.
In comes Baker, bowls to Stewart.
He sent me a picture of his leg on a chair,
right,
just like that, exactly like yesterday, and he says, another great day for the Pears, but I'd be delighted to get a few hours of play tomorrow. Not a lot else happening here, to be honest.
Oh dear.
You could go and have a bit of a hopping marathon or something, Gary.
In comes Baker, bowls to Stewart, and Stewart plays firmly to at mid-off, fielded by D'Oliveira. It is the end of the over. The Worcestershire players are certainly running around. It has got quite gloomy. The numbers on the score, but I mean, I think the Light is still playable, and this is when you get one of the sort of the nonsenses, don't you? If we do go off, I mean, I still think it wouldn't mean the end of the day's play, but it has got really quite gloomy.
I wonder if Brett D'Oliveira thinks he might have a bowl himself,
Well,
or Azhar Ali, who bowls a little bit of occasional spin, got a wicket at Leicester. If it gets really dark, I don't know.
I think at the minute we're okay for the good, but and there is
Yeah.
some brighter
It's
sky
brighter,
behind,
yeah, it is
so
brighter.
it would,
Yeah.
if it goes to a fifth day, it does. But it's
Yeah.
be good to get all the overs in today, I think.
Here's Morris anyway from the Diglis end. And he bowls, and he's dropped at slip. Stewart is dropped at slip. Not Stewart, it's Atkins. Dropped at slip. First slip, edged it. Ed Pollock moving to his left. He's caught well throughout the game, but he didn't manage to hold on to that one. And it's quite a tricky one, in my opinion, for two reasons. I think because the way he was shaping to play it, I don't think he would have seen it very well. It wasn't kind of out there. He was looking to sort of turn it on the leg side, and it was quite sharp. And the other thing is, when it's gloomy for the batsman, it's gloomy for the slip fielders as well. Anyway, unlucky for Charlie Morris, who comes in again now, bowls, and Atkins goes for a pull shot, which he doesn't time at all. And Joe Leach makes a sprawling stop at mid-on, and there's no run. 132 for 8. I hope Gary Smith in Sligo didn't think I was having a laugh, because I wasn't. I was just saying. But it was I'm sure he meant us to be amused by the picture. Not a lot else going on. But thanks for getting in touch. And going back to your last email, you can say what you like about management, but bad management doesn't cause injuries. It's not anybody's fault that there's so many players injured. It just happens. As Atkins pushes this out on the offside, and I say that as a neutral. I have no axe to grind with Sussex in any way at all. But if you're missing 5 players in one game, or 6 players because of injury, that's tough. And that attack that the previous emailer said might have played in this game, Finn, Ibrahim, Garton, etc. It's hard to replace them. Morris in, bowl, short. Atkins pulls out of a pull shot, got into position to play it, and then just dropped his hands underneath it, and it's taken by Cox. 132 for 8. Atkins on 2, Stewart on 28. And the men out since tea. Alistair Orr for 33, top scorer. Henry Crocombe for 8, both falling to the impressive Josh Baker, who I kind of fancy to finish this off, really. As Morris comes in, bowls, and Atkins flashes at that one. He would have been annoyed if he'd have nicked that, but missed it and went through to Cox. Poor old Charlie Morris, be a bit frustrated in this over, beaten the bat a couple of times, had a catch put down at slip. Wicketless in this second innings, but very tidy. 6.5 overs, 1 maiden, no wicket for 15 so far.
I suppose from a Sussex perspective, clearly they'll want to hope they take this as deep as possible, but in reality, perhaps getting on the bus back to Sussex tonight, having an extra day before they play again on Thursday.
Morris in, bowls, and Atkins gets a run down to third man Jake Libby, the fielder, and he keeps the strike, which won't bother Worcestershire at all. 133 for 8. Atkins now goes on to 3. And Stewart has 28, and there are 14 overs left in the day.
And Josh Baker's going to bowl the first of those. I say the light is not great, but behind this big wedge of dark cloud there are brighter skies, so it looks like and I'll imagine if it does get darker, as you say, D'Oliveira will come on to bowl, because they'll certainly want to bowl the overs today. Anyway, Josh Baker, he's got a slip, he's got a silly mid-off, and he's got a short leg, so 3 men clustered around the bat, and Baker is coming to bowl his left arm around the wicket to Jamie Atkins, who's on the 3s in a bowls. Atkins dabs this down towards third man. Well, there was a comfortable single there, and Grant Stewart called Atkins through. Atkins was a bit reluctant, but Leach had to run to his left down towards the third man boundary to field, and Atkins goes to 4. Sussex to 134 for 8. Just a reminder, needing 222 if they're to avoid an innings defeat. Now the field spreads for Grant Stewart. There are there's a long on and a long off. There's a sweeper on the cover boundary, a deep mid wicket. As in comes Baker bowls, and Stewart just eases that down the ground and picks up a single. Does Grant Stewart? He goes to 29. Sussex to 135 for 8, which brings Atkins back on strike. And immediately the field comes back in, and the helmets are sort of thrown around the various players to get in position. The silly mid-off or silly point, the short leg, and the leg slip have all got helmets on. As in comes Baker bowls, and Atkins drives pleasantly enough into the offside, fielded by D'Oliveira, and there is no run. Atkins surveys that leg side field. He's probably itching to come running down the wicket and have a heave at one. In comes Baker bowls, and he drives pleasantly enough into the offside, again fielded by D'Oliveira, and again there is no run. 135 for 8. Baker again. Turns, comes in, bowls. Atkins plays on the bounce into the hands of Azhar Ali, who feels that's silly mid off. There is no run. Now the field spreads. They can allow Jamie Atkins the single. The 3 men are staying around the bat, but the other close fielders have gone to allow the one. As in comes Baker bowls, and clipped to deep mid-wicket, fielded out there by Charlie Morris, who will hang on to the ball because he's going to bowl the next over from the Digley's end of the ground. So we've got that's going to go over to 13 overs left to be bowled today. Sussex 136 for 8, Atkins 5, Stewart.
I think Azhar Ali's going to have a little bowl.
Yes, interesting.
Yeah, I think he is. Yep, we're going to see a little bit of Azhar Ali with his licorice all sorts from the Digley's end. Didn't bowl a great deal, but he got a few test wickets, and he had the golden arm, didn't he, at Leicester last week when they needed a wicket just before tea in that Leicestershire second innings. 4 overs, no means 1 for 12 there. And in the gloom here, the relative gloom, he's going to have a little bowl here from the Digley's end. He'll be bowling to the right-handed Atkins, who won't have faced him before, I shouldn't imagine. It's a short leg and a slip. It's a man on the drive at mid-wicket, mid-on, deep mid-off, sweeper on the offside boundary, short extra and a backward point, and Ali is in, and his first ball is short and cut away on the offside and fielded by Brett D'Oliveira. So 12 overs left after this. Azhar Ali in again, bowls and cut by Atkins out in the deep to Josh Baker, and they take a single. 137 for 8.
Can't if the umpires think there is a result possible, can't Worcestershire claim the extra half hour here?
I think they can. Yeah, I think they can, and I'm sure they would.
I'm sure they would rather get it done tonight.
Yeah. Azhar Ali in once more from the Digley's end, bowls, and forward comes Stewart, hit on the pad, big shout. It's quite full. Bowling his leg break, that one maybe just skidding on a little bit, but umpire unmoved. Ali again stands at the end of his fairly short run. In he comes, skipping in, bowls, full in the block hole, and Stewart punches it up to long, and I keep saying punches it, he's so bottom-handed, he must be a hockey player, he must have played some hockey. 137 for 8, just got that right hand, just whips through on almost every shot, but he's played well. He's on 30 now, Stewart, could be going on to be top scorer.
Yeah.
Azhar Ali in and bowls to Atkins, who's back and steering this one out on the offside, and Jake Libby does the fielding. 138 for 8. Azhar Ali again, last ball of the over, comes in, bowls, and Atkins plays a Stewart-like shot through mid-wicket for 4. and despite the efforts of the man down there, Dylan Pennington, I think it is, diving to his right, got a hand to it but couldn't stop it, and that's a boundary to Atkins, who goes to 10. Stewart has 30, and it's 142 for 8. We've got 12 overs left in the day. Only takes 2 balls. Got to concentrate, make sure you take your catches. We've missed one chance, haven't they, with Pollock dropping Atkins off the bowling of Morris. But
do you think the slow bowlers wrong?
A little bit.
Do you think the slow bowlers wrong because of the light?
Probably. I mean, but
as a tail ender, I'd far rather face Josh Baker than Jack Leach or Pennington.
Yeah.
It is going to be Josh Baker who's coming into bowl to Grant Stewart. He's in a bowls and Stewart thumps the ball down the ground, picks up a single. He goes to 31, 143 for 8. I'm just going to say, everyone talks about T20 cricket and the excitement, but there's a game in the IPL today. Royal Challengers Bangalore was 68 all out in 16.1 overs, and Sunrisers Hyderabad got there in 8 overs, 72 for 1. That's not a great game of cricket, is it?
No.
24 overs in the match. So not every game in T20 cricket is close and exciting.
No, I agree.
In comes
Baker,
sorry, played into the offside.
No, I was looking forward to the county season starting because I was just a bit fed up with watching IPL cricket.
Yeah,
6-6.6, swing and a miss, 6-4-6.
In comes Baker again, bowls, and Atkins thumps that into the offside, fielded by Leach. There is no. I have to say, I don't watch it. I don't have any of those channels, to be honest. So I sort of keep half an eye on it. If there's I know Butler's been scoring a lot of runs, but it's not something that hugely catches my appeal. In comes Baker, bowls, and Atkins. Sorry, Stewart looking to turn that on the leg side. Sorry, Jamie Atkins, and ball ends up at backward point. There is no run. It sort of feels as if there might be a bit of rain around, but it is a lot brighter behind the hotel. Baker, 11 overs left in the day after this one. Comes in and bowls, and Atkins dabs that to backward point. There is no run. I suspect the slow bowlers are on because I think D'Oliveira was probably slightly worried that the umpires might come off for bad light. I think it could be good captaincy. And perhaps if it gets a bit brighter, he may be able to bring them back on. In comes Baker again, bowls. Atkins just covers up, plays into the hands of the silly min off. There is no run. It's the end of another over. So we've got 11 overs left to be bowled tonight. 143 for 8. Atkins 10. Stewart on 31. I'm sure the Worcester players are thinking, as you say, maybe a game of golf, or maybe just put their feet up, or a day with the family, or whatever tomorrow. I'm quite sure they're as anxious as anybody else not to come out. I'm sure there won't be any spectators will be here tomorrow if it does go back for just 2 wickets to go down. However, I think the forecast for tomorrow is pretty good, isn't it? I don't think there's any rain
pretty much
tomorrow.
The same, I think. 4 more.
So Azhar Ali bowling.
Yeah, long hop really, wasn't it? Short and just smashed away by Stewart for 4. Meat and drink. Top scorer now, Grant Stewart, 35. Bowled well. Can't really attach any blame to him for this Sussex performance. He's acquitted himself quite well, the loanee from Kent. Azhar Ali just struggling to get any consistency in. Bowls, fuller delivery, and she's driven up to long off. And they take a single. 148 for 8. Stewart goes to 36. Difficult for a wrist spinner in cold conditions anyway, but Azhar Ali probably not used to it. Did bowl at a few overs at Leicester last week and picked up a wicket. A caught behind and an attempted cut. But anyway, we'll see what happens now as he comes into bowl to Atkins. He bowls and it's nicely flighted, but Atkins just tickles it off his toes actually and gets a sort of little inside edge down to fine leg for 4. So second boundary in the over, and the total moves up to 152 for 8, and Atkins goes to 14. So just a little, you just feel the pressure's been eased a little bit in the last few minutes. Worcestershire will be hoping that one of the batters is going to make a mistake in a minute as Ali bowls, and that's the one he's looking for. As Atkins looks to run it down to third man and missed it, could easily have got a nick through to the keeper Cox. little bit more pace on that one, a little bit more fizz from Azhar Ali, but he's not a full-time leg spinner. He's in and he bowls, and that one's full and clipped away up to mid-on by Atkins. There was a time, wasn't there, where a long time ago, way before the time of most listeners probably, when quite a few batters around it bowled a little bit of leg spin. Ken Barrington, my schoolboy hero, did. Bob Barber at Warwickshire bowled a few leg breaks. Azhar Ali cuts, and again Cox takes outside the off stump as Atkins misses it. 152 for 8, 11 overs left in the day, 57 gone, 10 left in the day in fact, and Worcestershire still need 2 wickets.
Well, Sussex's next opponents, Durham, are going to get heavily beaten at home. They're 117 for 9 in their second innings against Nottinghamshire, so that one likely to finish tonight. An innings defeat for Durham, Notts back on winning ways, lost to Glamorgan last week, beat Sussex in the opening fixture of the season. Already today Glamorgan have been heavily defeated by Middlesex by an innings at 82. Leicester 124 for 4 at Grace Road, still needing another 194 to avoid an innings defeat, and all day tomorrow to go, so plenty of results in the second division. As in comes Josh Baker, round the wicket, comes in and bowls to Grant Stewart, who eases that out into the covers. There is no run. The light is improving actually. There is some lighter skies coming over. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if when it does get lighter, if
D'Oliveira's loosening up. He might have a little trundle himself, I think.
Baker round the wicket bowls. Stewart drives all the way out to long off. He's going to pick up a single where D'Oliveira will do the fielding. One more to Stewart. He goes to 36, 152 for 8. The arrears now 70 as the field come in to catching positions. At Edgbaston, Warwickshire battling away, 254 for 7, leading Warwickshire by just 37. Simon Harmer is such a good cricketer. He's on 46. South African, as in comes Baker again, bowls. Atkins stretches forward, plays down the offside, no run. Somerset have rather collapsed at the Oval. Tom Banton made a half century, but Somerset now 160 for 7, leading Surrey by 189. Could be a good day there tomorrow. As in comes Baker again, bowls to Atkins, who turns up on the onside, fielded by Charlie Morris, and there is no run.
Brett D'Oliveira is going to have a bowl.
Okay.
Seriously loosening up.
Baker on his way again, bowls. Atkins forward, plays that into the offside again. There is no run. Now the field goes back to give Atkins the single. Northants 45 for no wicket, needing 454 to win after Yorkshire racked up 406 for 3 in their second innings. Baker gives up plenty of air. Atkins plays that in the air down to
happy to take the
mid-on, yeah, fielded by Libby. End of the over, 153 for 8. I don't know if D'Oliveira's going to bowl the next over, but the light is it has improved a little, I think.
He was vigorously loosening up, and I thought he was going to bowl the next over. I'm surprised he bowls Azhar Ali ahead of himself, because he's a more accomplished bowler than Azhar Ali, I think. But maybe it's just, it's the sort of mystery spinner factor, and the fact that they won't have seen Ali before.
No, I'm just running through the other couple of games in Division 1. Gloucestershire 61 for 2, still trailing Lancashire by 243 at Old Trafford, and Kent in trouble at Canterbury 73 for 3, trailing Hampshire by 273.
Ali is D'Oliveira is definitely loosening up. He might be coming on to replace Baker, perhaps. Baker's bowled really well, hasn't he? 22 overs, 3 for 45.
Yep.
Here's Ali again. He's in, and he bowls to Atkins, who's forward. Pushes out on the offside. Haynes fields. Pollock fields, I beg your pardon, at cover. 154 for 8. Ali again bowls, short and cut by Atkins, gets a single this time. Baker fields at cover on the boundary, returns to Cox. Atkins goes to 16, 155 for 8. And Azhar Ali blows on his fingers just to warm them up a little bit. Makes a slight change to the field. And comes in to bowl to Stewart. Bowls, and Stewart is on the back foot too. That one might have been a googly. And plays it back up to the bowler. Short leg, slip. The only two close fielders. Azhar Ali again. In, bowls, and Stewart punches him down the ground for a single. 156 for 8. Listeners are probably thinking, well, why does he say punches every time Stewart gets a run? And the answer is because he sort of brings his bat down and then the bottom hand just drives through. Very capable, very good method for him. 38 now to him. 156 for 8 as Ali bowls to Atkins, and that's what he's really after. He looks for that little run down to third man, and I think Azhar Ali and Barnard at slip and Cox are hoping he might just get that wrong and just steer a catch to either Cox or Barnard, and it could easily happen.
Yes, it could.
Now he's put Haynes in at backward sort of leg slip here. Is that a bluff? Does it mean he thinks he's going to bowl a googly? Top spinner, that one certainly fizzed on a little bit, but Atkins on the back foot, driving it out on the offside, and there's no run, so the end of the over. And I wonder if we are going to see a bowling change or whether Baker will continue. I think he is going to continue by the look of it. D'Oliveira not making any movement towards the bowling end. 156 for 8. 8 overs left in the day.
I can only imagine that the spinners are on because Brett D'Oliveira is concerned that the umpires will take the players off, because I see no reason otherwise why he wouldn't have Leach on.
Well, the other thing
Morris.
is, if he thinks he can claim an extra half an hour, he might think, well, it's not really just 8 overs left.
Yes.
It's more like 18.
Yeah, and it is
Going.
definitely brighter where the weather is coming from. So perhaps in that case, it's good captaincy again. So, slip, short leg of the close fielders as in comes Baker, bowls, and Stewart is forward, plays back to Baker who fields, and there is no run. Baker back to his mark, comes in and bowls, and Stewart, oh, that's a miss-stumping. Miss-stumping by Ben Cox. Good bowling by Baker. Stewart was down the wicket looking to heave that one over our commentary box, but that's a miss-stumping and Stewart gets alive on 38. He's kept wicket really well, Ben Cox, but that was a miss-stumping. And comes Baker again, bowls, and Stewart plays to the sweeper on the cover boundary, and there is no run. He's really annoyed with himself, is Ben Cox. Stewart goes to 39. So miss-stumping when he was on 38. So both of these batsmen had a life now. Or batter, sorry. That was on 156 for 8. Atkins waits. It is brighter. It's not brilliant, but I think the feeling is the light is probably not good enough for the pace bowlers to bowl, which is why the spinners are on. Baker bowls, Atkins drives pleasantly enough into the covers fielded by Oliveira.
Yes, just 7 overs left after this one, and Worcestershire still struggling to pick up this 9th wicket. Sussex 157 for 8. In this over, which Josh Baker is bowling, we've seen a miss-stumping by Ben Cox as Grant Stewart came down the pitch looking for a big hit. But looks as though Sussex are going to hang on in gloomy light. We've got a spin at both ends at the moment, and possible that the umpires could give Worcestershire an extra half hour, but they might feel that the light is against that decision. We'll have to wait and see. But at the moment, Sussex hanging in there. They're 158 for 8 now as Atkins goes on to 17. Stewart has 39. It's a deficit of 64. But Worcestershire being made to work hard here, and they might not get things wrapped up tonight after all. Yeah, it's not a case of claiming the extra half hour anymore. Apparently, you just wait and see if you're given it by the umpires. And they might well give it, but it might depend on the light. But here's Brett D'Oliveira now coming into the attack, as I thought he might. And I'm going to make a... Shall I make a bold prediction?
Go on.
If it's right, then it'll look amazing. If it's not, everybody will forget anyway. I predict Brett D'Oliveira will get one of these two LBW with one that just slides on a little bit, because he's a different kind of bowler from the other two spinners that we've seen. And since he's bowled more in white ball cricket, he's just got a little bit flatter and a little bit quicker, and I think he might just skid one on. We'll see. could be complete bunkum. But here we go.
You never know. Let's see. Is it you or me?
It's me. I think he comes in from the Diglis end and bowls nicely on the mark with his first delivery. Pushed out on the offside by Atkins. 17 not out. 158 for 8. Will it be 6 overs after this, or will they have a bit longer if the umpires decide? Here's D'Oliveira in. Bowls, and again nicely on line and length, and Atkins playing a little bit early at that one, kind of jabbed it back uppishly to the bowler. 158 for 8. D'Oliveira again. Shortish approach. He's in. Bowls, and that one's a bit quicker, flatter. Atkins pushes out on the offside. What I've got going against my theory is the fact that these two are both quite tall and might play a long way forward. But I'll cling to the hope. D'Oliveira bowls, and that was chipped up to mid-on, and he gets a wicket.
You said he
so
would.
The bottom-handed chip from Atkins goes straight to Pennington at mid-on, and the 9th wicket is down. Well bowled, Brett D'Oliveira. Good bowling change. And it's 158 for 9. Caught by Pennington off the bowling of D'Oliveira. Settled right onto it, hasn't he, in this first over?
Yeah.
Right smack on the money, Brett D'Oliveira.
Well, you'd imagine. I mean, you'd imagine we'll just carry on playing for another half an hour. I mean, I don't think the light is. I mean, it is brighter, but it's still not great light. But let's be honest, no one's going to want to come back for 1 wicket tomorrow, are they?
No, well, you wouldn't think so, would you? You really wouldn't.
Even from I mean, all right, you might say, well, it could hose down with rain all day. Might do.
Yeah.
And Sussex escaped with some points, but the reality is that the forecast is actually quite good for tomorrow. So, this is only delaying the inevitable. Sussex are not going to get out of this mess, as in comes George Burrows.
Well, wicket for Brett D'Oliveira. It's not a bad game, the Worcestershire captain, has he? Got his decisions right most of the time, made an unbeaten 169. He's brought himself on and picked up a wicket in his first over, and they're on the brink now. Worcestershire, after me saying they might not get it wrapped up tonight in my bulletin for BBC Hereford and Worcester, it now looks as though they will. Such is the game. Only takes 1 ball, or 1 ball to take a wicket. 2 balls to take 2, and George Burrows is in, and I don't envy him, really. What a time to go. You get given a 1-month contract and you find yourself going out in this situation. It's pretty tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
158 for 9. He takes guard. Fields unchanged. Slip and a short leg, close catches. D'Oliveira a wicket with his 4th ball, and he comes in now, or will in a minute, when Burrows has taken guard. He's just having a look at the field. In fact, there's a change, and D'Oliveira says to Haynes to go to leg slip rather than short leg, and he comes in now and he bowls, and Burrows is forward, just squeezes this one from the toe of the bat back up the pitch to the bowler, who spreads the field now, hoping to give Burrows a single as he comes in to bowl the last ball of this over. He's in and he bowls, and Burrows goes back and says, no, I won't have a single, even though I can if I want to, because the field's back. He says no, he turns it down, and Stewart will stay on strike. Applause, a ripple of applause from the frozen hands of the spectators for D'Oliveira. 1 over 1 maiden, 1 wicket, no runs. 158 for 9.
2 batsmen have a little natter in the middle of the pitch. I don't think we've got any more emails coming, none at the moment, but thank you for all those that are coming. I say away to the left, that the clouds do look a little higher, to be honest. I'm sure as soon as the light would allow, D'Oliveira will whisk probably Jack Leach straight back into the attack, I would imagine, but for the timing it's still going to be Josh Baker from the New Road end to bowl to Grant Stewart. So you feel we're going through. It is really gloomy here now. I mean, I think the weather is still coming from our left, but It is pretty dark as Baker is in and bowls and Stewart is forward. Plays straight back down the track. There is no run. Grant Stewart on 39, top scoring. And on his debut, made 18 in the first innings. Baker in again, bowls. He's down the wicket, driving, hammers the ball. That's 6 runs.
That's in New Road.
Yeah, that's got many a long mile. Watch my cart. He heaves the ball over the grandstand for 6 runs. That's a big hit.
Yeah,
straight down the ground.
That's in New Road. For those that were here last summer and saw Johnny Bairstow do that 10 times in the T20.
Wow.
Including one that went over the road and into the park on the other side. I haven't
Right.
seen that happen since Graham Hick was here.
Well, that's a big blow.
That is a big blow. He's a big man, Grant Stewart.
He
Played
is.
well, 45.
Yeah, yes. So he's made what, 45 plus 18, 63 runs in the match.
That was what he was trying to do when he was when the stumping was missed, more or less.
Yes, he was. Yeah. So 164 for 9. Sussex leading another 36 plus 22, 58 to avoid an innings defeat. Baker waits. Figures of 3 for 53. In comes Baker again, bowls, and Stewart's had it again, driving firmly, and that's going to be, is that 6 more? I didn't see where that went.
Yeah,
it is
6
more.
over mid-off, that's
Dribble
50.
over.
Well batted.
Well batted, Grant Stewart. And he gets applause as well from a couple of the Worcestershire fielders. Who's that at slip? Ed Pollock applauds. 55 balls. 50 in 55 for Grant Stewart.
2 4s and 3 6s.
170 for 9. And the umpire says, can I have a look at that ball, make sure it's okay, which it is. There's some late entertainment from Grant Stewart. He waits again as in comes Baker, bowls, and he's pulling onto the leg side. That could be 6 more. It is 6 more. 3 6s in a row from Grant Stewart. 2 short from Josh Baker. And Stewart rather helped himself. Pulls that away onto the leg side. He goes to 57. Total to 176 for 9. So Grant Stewart has clearly decided he's going to have a bit of fun here. He goes to 57 in 56 deliveries, and that's 4 6s. He's at 3 in a row now, hasn't he? One over the pavilion, one over mid-off, and then he pulled that one over mid-wicket for 6.
Azhar Ali running up to Josh Baker, big grin on his face, patting him on the back and saying, don't you worry about this. Just one of those things that happens.
So it can't be 6.
He's only got to miss one.
Yeah, it can't be 6 6s and over, but just a change in the field here. D'Oliveira is just changing the field around. The short leg is coming out. That's Jack Haynes. He's going to square leg. So just the one fielder in at slip. Mid-off and mid-on still up. In comes Baker again. Bowls, and Stewart hammers this one into the covers, and it's raced away for 4 runs. Beats the diving Jack Leach. And
denting Baker's excellent figures this over, unfortunately. 22 off it.
Stewart goes to 61. Next door to us, the red light just came on.
Yeah, it's the scorers acknowledging the signal from the umpire.
It's the first time I've noticed it. Maybe that's a sign of that it's really quite gloomy.
Yeah.
4 all to Stewart. He goes to 61. This over has so far cost 22.
Yeah.
Of Josh Baker, 3 6s and a 4. Will he get his revenge with the last ball? He's in and bowls, and Stewart hammers that. That's going over the pavilion as well. That's 6 more. So 4 6s in the over from Grant Stewart, and an over that costs 28 for Josh Baker, who takes his cap and looks a bit fed up with life. But Grant Stewart is motoring here. He's on to 67, and Sussex 186 for 9, and they now need another 14 plus 22, another 36 to avoid an innings defeat. I would say it's got a little bit brighter, actually.
Yeah.
Unless my eyes deceive me.
Yeah, well, that over has changed things a bit. 'Cause suddenly you think 36, they could get those. But I think Brett D'Oliveira kept up his mid-off and mid-on. He's almost saying, we don't mind if you go for these big hits, because you've only just got to miss time one or miss hit one. Anyway, he's going to carry on, and he's bowling to Burrows now from the Diglis end, and Burrows looking to work this one away on the onside. He's taken on the pad, and there's no run. I'm still sticking by my LBW prediction. More of a hope than a prediction, I suppose. 186 for 9. It only takes 1 ball. D'Oliveira is in and bowls, and Burrows edges this inside edge past the stumps down to fine leg, and it won't reach the ropes, and they probably wanted it to, although he's only come back for 2 anyway. Probably should have run 3. 188 for 9. D'Oliveira hands on head. Can't quite believe that missed the stumps. 4 overs left after this, officially in the day. Sure, if the light's good enough, they would stay out there.
Yeah.
D'Oliveira bowls again, and Burrows is squeezing this one out on the offside. There must have been a bit of bat on it. In fact, he inspects the bottom of his bat as though it was a snooker cue. And he waits again now as D'Oliveira comes in, bowls, and he's forward and just squeezing this one out on the leg side. Joe Leach at square leg allows it to run, but they're not interested in a single. 2 balls left in the over. I wonder who will bowl at this end in the next over. Interesting. After Baker went for 28 in that over. Here's D'Oliveira in, and Burrows is forward, pushes out on the offside. But D'Oliveira will spread the field. Back you go, boys. Give him 1. Save 2.
I doubt they'll take it.
I doubt they'll take it. Although the funny thing is, and then they took one off the first ball of the over, didn't they, after turning it down last time. Here's D'Oliveira. He's in. He bowls, and Burrows is hit on the foot. And that's out. That's the win. The full toss on the foot is 99 times out of 100 given by umpires in first-class cricket. And D'Oliveira's picked up the second wicket. And dare I say,
You said it'd be LBW.
it was LBW. So really, really good bowling from Brett D'Oliveira. George Burrows is out for 2, and Worcestershire are the winners by an innings and 34 runs. And Brett D'Oliveira finishes with figures of 2 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 2. He's had a cracking game, the Worcestershire captain, and the Sussex innings ends 188 all out, with Grant Stewart unbeaten on 67, and Worcestershire are victorious for the first time this season, having very nearly won their first game at Leicester, and nicely finished off by the Worcestershire captain Brett D'Oliveira.
Well done, Worcestershire. I think probably everybody's relieved that this is done and dusted tonight, coming all the way back tomorrow for just probably 1 ball isn't what anybody wants. Some late defiance from Grant Stewart, but in reality I think the reality of the game is that Sussex have been completely outplayed from probably the opening morning when Ed Pollock came out and played so aggressively. They were on the back foot. Tom Haynes, the Sussex skipper, manfully trying to wrestle back control, but Worcestershire have bowled really well. They decided to enforce the follow-on, very positive by Brett D'Oliveira, who for me the man of the match for his skippering and his 169. Well played, Worcestershire, terrific performance, and thank you very much, Frank, for your company. I've thoroughly enjoyed the 3 days, and it's been great fun despite obviously Sussex suffering a heavy defeat, but well done, Worcester, thoroughly deserved winners.
Thank you very much to Adrian Harms from BBC Radio Sussex for his excellent commentary and excellent company for the last 3 days. I hope you've enjoyed listening to us. I'll just give you a very, very quick resume. So Worcestershire won the toss and chose to bat. They made 491 in their first innings. Brett D'Oliveira 169 not out, 77 from Ed Pollock set the tone on the first morning, and 75 from Ed Barnard as well, in a big partnership for the 5th wicket with D'Oliveira of 166. The top bowler for Sussex in that was the captain Tom Haynes with 3 for 50, and then in their first innings Sussex held together by an excellent 100 from Cheteshwar Pujara, who was knocked out this morning overnight on 85. He went on to 109, but they were bowled out before lunch this morning with Pujara's 109 the standout innings. The other men out today: Rawlins 10, Stewart 18, Alsop 28, and Crocombe finishing 15 not out. Burrows out for naught. For Worcestershire, 4 wickets for Joe Leach. Worcestershire decided to enforce the follow-on with a 222 run lead and made early inroads thanks to Joe Leach, who took the first 2 wickets in a couple of balls, both caught behind. Haynes out for 10 and Alsop without scoring. Pujara, a key wicket. Pennington delivered and bowled him. Got him out twice in the day, actually, the young Worcestershire seamer. So Pujara was out for 12. Clark then went for 8. Rizwan for 4 and Rawlins for 19. Inexplicably run out. 93 for 6 at tea. And the resistance of Alistair Orr, who hung around for a long, long time, ended when one popped from Josh Baker and he was caught at short leg by Jack Haynes for 33. And thereafter Crocombe out for 8 Atkins for 17, and finally Burrows LBW to the captain Brett D'Oliveira for 2. Stewart finished 67 not out, some entertaining big hitting from him towards the end, but with 3 wickets for Baker, 2 for D'Oliveira, 2 for Leach, 1 for Barnard and 1 for Pennington. That's Sussex second innings, 188 all out, leaving Worcestershire the winners by an innings and 34 runs. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching the live stream, and it's been good to have your company. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage, and we will be back on Worcestershire's stream and feed from Trent Bridge a week, on next Thursday, and at the same time Sussex will be hosting Durham down at Hove, and Adrian Harmers will be pleased to speak to you then. Thanks a lot, and do keep supporting the BBC and county cricket.
Here to that. Sussex have another heavy defeat at the hands of Worcestershire yesterday. Thought, they better not go home before I do some stuff today, because I'll be really annoyed.